The Pacific Northwest offers so much natural beauty, blended with cool cities like Portland, Oregon, and that's where the NTT IndyCar Series finds itself today. The season has just 2 races left, and this event has been pivotal in the past as to how the title is decided. Let's see what has in store today between these 2 teammates to decide the 2023 title. NBC Sports welcomes you to its presentation of IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual. Oh, what a day it is going to be today. It's not the last race of the season, but it could be championship day. Yes, here we are back at Portland International Raceway for the BitNile.com Portland Grand Prix. Hi folks, Lee Diffie along with Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, ready to get things going. You know, there's a myriad of stories. Drivers who haven't had a win yet, they want that win today. They want to elevate themselves in the championship standings. But Hinch, it all comes down really to just 2 guys and the battle for this championship. They belong to the same team, Chip Ganassi Racing. It's Scott Dixon up against Alex Palou.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're set for history in the making, guys. We're going to potentially watch history be made today as this man, Alex Palou, tries to become the first driver in 17 years to lock up a championship before the last race of the season. How does he do it, Townsend? Simple. Finish on the podium. Game over. Job done for Alex Palou, and he's done it off the back of a remarkable season. 4 wins, lots of podiums, but incredible consistency. A worst finish of just 8th. It just shows how impressive they've been across the whole season.
No question. But for his teammate, where did Palou learn this championship mentality, this routine, minimizing the worst finish? From his teammate, Scott Dixon, the master, who has reminded us over the last 2 races that at any time he's capable of dropping and sprinkling that Dixie dust and finding a way to get to victory lane, despite not having the fastest car, despite not starting up front. He did it in Indianapolis. He did it last weekend in St. Louis with incredible fuel mileage that left the rest of the field scratching their head, trying to figure out how does Dixie do it. So if magic's going to happen today, it could very well come again from number 9.
And when you talk to anybody about Portland International Raceway, they don't talk about the Columbia River nearby, the beautiful trees, the wonderful race fans, all passionate about this. They talk about turn 1 and the chaos that ensues.
Well, I've lived both sides of this. I've been part of the madness, and I have sneaked through this thing with no damage. But more times than not, we see drama in turn 1. Here we are on board with Hinchcliffe. That was Marco Andretti going up and over. Scott Dixon again escapes, finds a way to keep his car intact. That was the miracle on dirt. Then Graham Rahal, I mean, trying out for the Professional Bowlers Association here, takes out, what, 6 cars in turn 1? Luckily today, he'll be starting up front. This is on board with the driver of the 15. It can all go wrong. They say you can't win a race on the first corner or the first lap. Portland seriously disagrees with that.
But just because you have problems in turn 1, that doesn't necessarily mean it's game over for the drivers. Let's go back to 2021. Your pole sitter, Alex Palou, racing Scott Dixon in those similar colored cars. Look, Felix Rosenquist gets involved. All of the top 4 have to take to the runoff. The rules then, as the rules today, priority goes to the cars that stay on the track. All 4 of those drivers, Palou included, had to go all the way to the back. Alex gets on the radio to his crew and said, hey guys, this isn't done. We can still win this. And that's exactly what they did. They came back from the back of the field to win it. And that's really what I think put the nail in the coffin of that first championship. And today, he can actually seal it up here again.
One driver who's going to look to get through that turn 1-2 complex cleanly is the defending race winner. That is the 30-year-old Kiwi for Team Penske, Scott McLaughlin. He dominated last year from the pole position, led 104 of the 110 laps. He told me just a few moments ago he feels he is in the best shape mentally of his racing career, and he wants to be as high in this championship as possible and defend that race win. He's standing by with Kevin Lee.
And Lee, as it should be, the championship two get a lot of the attention, but for 25 other drivers like Scott McLaughlin, so much more to play for. What's at stake for you today?
Oh, look, we want to win the race. You know, I think when I go back-to-back here for Freightliner and Chevy, Freightliner is ultimately their home ground in some ways here in America. So really excited to try and do that. But you know, I need to I want to get 3rd or 2nd in the championship maybe. We know Palou's done an amazing job. Congrats to him. But yeah, I'm excited for what's ahead. I think we've got a good fast race car, and we'll see what we got.
How much can you plan ahead and strategize to avoid chaos in the chicane in turn 1?
You can't. If you're on pole, maybe you can preempt a few things, but I've got a few things that I want to try. Maybe just depends on how the start goes, where I'm positioned on the track, and how much risk I want to take. But there's like plan A, B, C, but sometimes they all go out the window and you go with Z. So we'll see how we go.
Scott McLaughlin trying to go back-to-back here at Portland from second today. Now to Dylan Welch.
Graham Rahal has qualified on pole in back-to-back road course races, and it's his second pole in the last 3 races overall. So what's the significance of having another opportunity to go for a win starting from pole after being so close at Indianapolis?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have the starting spot. Obviously, we need to make sure we keep it together today and see how this thing plays out. I think there's a couple different strategies that could come together. Red tires, black tires, which is going to be best? I don't think we really know. And then, of course, today it's 20 degrees cooler than yesterday and more than that on track time. So a lot of unknowns today, but we feel really good with the people ready. Honda, I think, if we can have a good start, get out front, try to control the pace a little bit, we'll see how it all develops.
Out to survive turn 1 and all the calamity down there, but Graham going to try to contribute to the Rahal resurgence on road courses and get his first win since 2017.
You know how Dylan just mentioned back-to-back poles on road course races for Graham Rahal. He broke a 6-year drought for getting a pole position. Can he break a 6-year drought for race wins right here today?
I don't think there's any question, because one thing Graham has reminded us over these last few races, he didn't forget how to drive. He certainly didn't forget how to qualify. And I think the confidence is growing in his race team. Look at the smiles all around at Indianapolis, but just a couple months prior, they didn't qualify for the Indy 500. Graham drove home to a great second-place finish. And I think this guy can just fall out of bed and drive fast. He doesn't need to be reminded. He's been doing it that long, and it's great to see the success that I know he's been capable of this whole time.
And because the team's been struggling for raw pace the last little while, Graham's had to do a lot of work on Sundays, taking a car that's not necessarily as quick as the others, throwing it on his back, we talk about it a lot, and bringing it up to a strong result. So as he showed in Indy, you give him a good starting spot, those abilities still shine when he's starting up front. So I think Graham has a great shot today of taking home that first win in 6 years.
That can be encapsulated or in a nutshell of he's got nothing to lose, right? He's not going for the championship. He's not trying to elevate his position necessarily in the standings. Just go for it. He's got nothing to lose. So look for a great performance from the people-ready Honda of Graham Rahal today. We're just getting started here in Portland. Coming up, Hinch sits down with the Bus Bros. Usually they're the ones firing off the questions, but our James does it when he sits down with Hinch's hot seat. That's coming up next. You're watching IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need.
Grab your mobile device and scan the QR code on your screen to enter for your chance to drive away with a new Corvette courtesy of Hy-Vee and Gatorade. All season, enter for a chance to win one of 4 Corvettes. Beautiful look at downtown Portland, Portland International for the BitMile.com Grand Prix. And we are just about ready to move to the next step, the pre-race with opening ceremonies. Trackside.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time we ask that you please rise and remove your hats as the Lewis & Clark Young Marine Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as Father Jeff Callia offers today's invocation.
Gracious God, we accept this day from you as a gift, and we ask that we may glorify you in all we do today. And we ask you to spread your mantle of protection over all of us, especially our drivers, crews, medical and safety teams, and first responders, that coming safely to the end of this day, we may give you thanks and praise. And we ask this in the name of Jesus the Lord. Amen.
Here to honor America with the singing of our national anthem, please welcome Nashville artist Brooke Lee.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. Oh, the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets regular, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Drivers getting ready to climb aboard their race cars. Let's talk about row 5 real quick. Alexander Rossi has an average finish of 5th in 4 starts here at Portland, but no wins in 2023. He hasn't been thrilled with the balance all weekend of this car, but he's been in the top 10 almost every session, so they can get him something he's comfortable with today. He could be in the hunt for a positive result. Next to him is Marcus Ericsson, won the first race of the season way back at St. Pete. Lots changed since then. He's going to a new team next year, but wants at least one more win as a thank you for all this 8-car crew has helped him accomplish. The team's just as motivated to send him out a winner, and Marcus had a birthday yesterday, Kevin, so a celebration's in order for sure.
Hey, Dylan, a little further up the grid in row 3 and row 4, we've got a pair of young stars that have both won 11 combined races, still in the early 20s, but Colton Herta has not won yet this year. He's won in each of his 4 seasons, desperately wants that streak to continue. He starts from 3rd. Then you go to the next row back, it's Palou Ward, who's been remarkably consistent this season, 2nd 4 times on 4 different kind of tracks, thinks he can get it done from where he's at today. And remember, the mighty McLaren is yet to win this season, one of the storylines to watch going into the next last race of the season. Lee?
There's a lot going on, Kev. Thanks so much for that. You know, we always use the phrase "in the hot seat" refers to the drivers when they're actually doing what they're paid to do. But this is something out of the car. Imagine being in the hot seat with James Hinchcliffe. Well, that's where Joseph Newgarden and Team Penske teammate Scott McLaughlin found themselves.
What's Joseph's favorite movie?
I don't know that I would say I have a favorite movie.
Okay, I'm sure you have like a.
No.
If he lands in the top 5,
yeah, top 5.
You landed on anything Disney / Aladdin.
I knew he was going to do that.
Well, is Aladdin in your top Disney movies?
It's not. For Disney movies, yes. But it's not going to be in the top 10.
It's not your top 5? Not top 10?
I actually don't
Sorry.
know.
I also don't think that's how you spell Aladdin.
It's definitely not.
Aladdin.
Aladdin.
It's Aladdin.
If Scott could eat one more food for the rest of his life, what would it be?
See, I don't even know that. I know I do know that.
You guys travel together as teammates.
Yeah,
you
but
near
he's
each
all
other.
over the shop, this guy. He's a flake, too. One minute he likes Mexican, the next minute he likes Japanese.
Just answer the question, dude.
Well, do you have it in your head?
I have. I'm ready to go. I'm going to say anything opposite to what you just said.
He's just going to say no matter what comes up.
Yeah.
Man, this is like a real relationship. He landed on spicy chicken. We know that's not true.
Play it right, Joseph. You know, it's pizza.
Pizza, as it should be.
He loves
cannot
spice.
handle spice.
I thought he liked it.
Play it properly, Joseph. I don't play it at all.
Wow.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Scott.
Dad.
If Scott could star in any movie, what movie would it be?
Oh, I know.
You know?
You should just go with the theme of this whole thing and just think about it.
No, I get it.
You guys do argue like a newlywed couple. It's adorable.
Yeah.
Do you get it?
Yeah.
Is he the Will Ferrell character or is he the John C. Reilly character?
Oh, I'm definitely John C. Reilly.
Yeah, I was going to say John C. Reilly.
Yeah, I could see you being the drummer. Who's the better bus driver? 3. Wait. Oh, wow. You just openly admitted that.
I haven't driven the bus.
You've never driven
Ever.
it?
You have never driven your bus at all?
Never.
Bus bros.
Okay.
It's a fake.
Who looks better shirtless?
Oh. Dude, I don't even have a kid and I've got a dad bod.
I just want to watch the pain on his face when he tries to write me down for that question.
I know.
That was just.
I have no idea.
No idea. Shut up.
Pretty
dude.
pasty. Pretty pasty
I
over
look
here.
like the Michelin man around your pool. Like,
Who can get their voice to a higher pitch?
Okay.
All right, we have to settle that one.
No, I'm not doing that.
like
No,
like
we're just gonna have to settle right now.
Like a sing? Or
Just
like
prove, just the highest squeal pitch sound you can make.
Go on. You go first. No.
See?
You can't. You want a rebuttal? Yeah, I think Scott by nose. Scott by nose.
Well, good job, Hinch, loosening these guys up. But I'll tell you, with the helmets on, when the visors go down here at the start of this thing, this guy, McLaughlin, knows that he is in the cage now with Newgarden on points, just 14 points back as McLaughlin, and he would love to be the best Team Penske driver on the season. They are both highly professional, and I think when the green flag drops, it will be pros before bros to the finish line.
Yeah, and their fortunes have swung in opposite directions over the last couple of races, that's for sure. Newgarden crashed out of the last race, crashed in qualifying, whereas McLaughlin starts on the front row here in the City of Roses. We're in Portland, Oregon for the NTT IndyCar Series, and a championship, the championship, could be decided here at this sports crazy city in an eventful way. It's teammate on teammate here in the Pacific Northwest. You're watching IndyCar Live, presented by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. How on earth is Alex Palou doing this? Dominant with a capital D. Alex Palou wins the GMR Grand Prix at Indy.
Yes, good job, boys.
Who gets the pole for the Indianapolis 500? It's Alex Palou! From pole to victory lane, the Motor City says hello, Palou.
Yes, boys. What a team. Woo.
Back-to-back races, Alex is a winner again.
Let's go! Woo!
Hello, Palou. Alex wins here at Mid-Ohio.
Yes! Great around! Oh, thank you for putting me in this position, boys.
Look who is in second now.
Dixon is still in play.
Scott Dixon is going to be a winner again in 19 consecutive seasons.
Back-to-back wins just using killer fuel strategy.
Dixon keeps his championship hopes for number 7 alive.
How many times have we seen him come back from a deficit and win a championship?
It's scary to have Dixon chasing always.
Scott Dixon is in the cage with him now.
NBC Sports, your home of motorsports, welcomes you to the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. It is race 16 of the 17 race series here, and the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series could be decided today. The tale of the tape between Alex Palou and teammate Scott Dixon. One grew up in Spain, the other New Zealand. One's a 6-time champ, one's trying to be a 2-time champ. It's all going to play out here today. Let's go trackside for the command.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to give the command for the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. Please welcome your Grand Marshal, founder and executive chairman of BitNile.com, Todd Alt.
The greatest drivers in the world. Drivers, start your engines! Command has been given.
'27 IndyCars fired up here at Portland International Raceway, ready to roll for 110 laps. We go racing and maybe decide a championship when we come back.
Was always destined for greatness. Turned up on time, no lateness. These MCs, they can't shake us. Send them back to their makers. Can't take me for some Diddy MC. Dibby Dibby A to the Dibby Dibby B. Not skibbity, but trust me, you will see when I jump on the mic, it gets peak.
In the racing world, the name Ganassi is one made famous by 3 decades racing and achieving at the highest level. And there is the man behind the name, Chip Ganassi, the successful team owner who either today or next weekend in California will clinch his 15th IndyCar Series title. He has two of his drivers, there they are, fighting it out for this title here today. That may be decided, maybe not, it doesn't matter. It's going to be a wonderful occasion anyway. And the man in the driver's seat, pardon the pun, is Alex Palou. Let's talk with him now.
All right, let's see if we can get him here. Hey, Alex, Townsend with NBC, you copy?
Yeah, I copy you.
All right, bud, you're trying to do what nobody's done for 17 years, win a championship today with a race to go, but you've got some obstacles in front of you, namely that orange number 9 right in front, Scott Dixon, and this turn 1. How do you keep it clean? How do you keep your car in one piece down there? Any advice for us watching?
Not really. Do you have an advice for me, man? I don't know. We're just going to control what we can control and hope for the best, but our car's been really strong all weekend, so we'll try and win this race.
All right, we'll be watching. Best of luck today.
And a big thanks to Alex for allowing us to do that, because we are coming to green. There is the starting grid rolling through on your screen. Graham Rahal starts on the pole position with Scott McLaughlin, the defending race winner, on his outside. Tom Blomqvist is going to finish out the season for Meyer Shank Racing. He brings up the rear of the field, but valuable experience for the sports car champ coming into IndyCar racing. Let's have a look at the Honda track preview. Take us around, fellas.
Well, it's 12 turns in total, James. Very fast and flowy through 4 and 7, but over in 12 it can get pretty nasty. We've seen a lot of cars go off on that final section, but of course we're going to be watching here on the start, turn 1.
Turn 1's obviously the key, but a lot of incidents in 6 and 12 so far this weekend. It's been busy as the Honda pace car brings us around.
That is the 2023 Honda Civic Type R leading the field to green, ready to get going. It's a Rahal McLaughlin front row, the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland, 110 laps, championship on the line, and they start a little earlier. This is a recent trend of starting in turn 12. Here we go, and Graham Rahal has been given the flexibility and permission by race control to start it when you feel it's ready to go. Dixon alongside in that bright orange and blue machine alongside Colton Herter. Where's the championship leader? He's on the inside. Rahal into turn 1. Do we get through cleanly? There's a lockup, a little bit of contact there.
2 cars going through. I think that might have been Kyle Kirkwood in the pink car going long and hitting one of the barriers, but up front they continue to race. Look at Dixon, orange and blue car trying to sneak on Colton Herta in the black and yellow.
Around the outside, that green and black car, that's Callum Milot off a great qualifying effort up the inside of one of the McLarens into 6, side by side now. The McLaren fighting back, I think that's Rosenqvist.
And Rossi up the inside there, Power side by side. Look at this. Good stuff from the teammates, but the dirt flies. One of those cars is Ilott. Grosjean got airborne. Wheels slamming, cars hitting.
And the left front from Romain Grosjean is destroyed. He will have to live back to the pits.
Actually, completely gone. I got pushed wide and there was a car and a gravel.
Oh boy, and Joseph Newgarden back there. He's trying to avoid everything.
I think Newgarden was that other car that had to go through the runoff in turn 1, Townsend.
Yeah.
Along with Kirkwood, but here's the damage to the 28. You saw that Callum Milot was just pushed out wide in 7, kicked up some dirt. Didn't see him coming down the inside into turn 1. That's Lundgaard.
And the teammate Yuri Vips, the newcomer to IndyCar racing, the young Estonian. There he is there in the custom entertainment machine. Meanwhile, Will Power keeps trying to fend off all the McLaren drivers on board with Alexander Rossi.
Well, and the challenge for Will Power is he's starting on that harder black compound tire. And right now, Rossi has the softer red in these overcast, cool conditions. I think the advantage is on Rossi. Still a ton of dirt at the exit of turn 7. Kevin Grosjean's coming to the box.
And Romain Grosjean comes in, and it is apparently some significant damage because the call was you're going to shut it off when you came in. They told him there's nothing you can do, but the bad luck continues, or at least no results here at Portland for Grosjean, who's finished 19th and 22nd in his 2 races here.
Is it going to be day over? Rahal leads McLaughlin, Palou, Herter, Dixon, then Pato Award, Will Power, Alexander Rossi, and Felix Rosenqvist.
Power was even looking a little bit racy there into turn 1 as we see Kirkwood try to make up some of that ground on Elio Castroneves. Great move through the first chicane. Will Power's off, turn 4.
Is that contact from Alexander Rossi? These guys were arguing over the same piece of track multiple times. He stalled. Power needs help, and it's a caution.
Bring out a full course caution so the AMR safety team can bring the starter to Will Power. He went off with such force that it sure would indicate that maybe he got some help from behind. But let's take a look here.
Quick.
So he was trying to dive down the inside and just lost it. Too much speed, or at least defending maybe, I guess, against Alexander Rossi. And just lost the back end.
Huge forceful entry speed into the corner, and as you said, just lost the tail end. And this is the story of red versus black tires, but it started much earlier. Two cars going side by side. Oh, there he goes. That's in turn 4. I initially thought 7. On board here with Willpower.
Outside. Still there.
And Rossi, Power trying to hold his ground, fighting with Alexander Rossi, and lost out. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by People Ready, partner of Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan Racing, an official staffing solutions provider for the NTT IndyCar Series. Big Machine Vodka Spiked Coolers, presenting sponsor of Big Machine Music City Grand Prix. Enjoy responsibly. And by NTT, official sponsor and technology partner of the NTT IndyCar Series. Still under caution at Portland International Raceway. We'll go racing and go green next time by as we welcome you back to the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. Let's take you back to the start. Graham Rahal with a phenomenal jump off turn 12, but watch the teammates and championship rivals.
Yeah, this is big. How does Alex Palou handle turn 1? We just talked to him on the radio and he said, hey, if you got any tips, let me know. But let's see what he does here. Drafts up on the back of the black and yellow car of Colton Herta, backs off early to get some space in the brake zone, and side by side there with Dixon, and then he starts to go on the attack. Colton Herta got jammed up at the apex at turn 2. By goes Palou, and with that, he holds a 79-point lead in the championship as they run right now.
Do you see that contact there? The two getting into the back of the 27. That's Newgarden and Kirkwood. No action from race control. And then let's look what happened later in the lap. You see that green and black car. Hukos Hollner gets pushed off there. It's a smoke screen as he comes back on the track. Grosjean doesn't know he's there. And here's the onboard.
So it went Rossi, Ericsson, Ilott, then Grosjean. Boom, boom, boom.
I did not miss the fact that it looked like Pato O'Ward might have pushed his Arrow McLaren teammate off the track there with Alexander Rossi getting in the dirt. So we'll see how aggressive the three teammates get here in the Papaya cars.
If you believe in omens, this is the first time that Graham Rahal has led the first few laps since he won Detroit Race 1 in 2017. That should be a positive sign for the Rahal Letterman Lanigan driver. Back to racing. Here we go into turn 1. Watch the teammates further back in the orange machine. Rosenquist on the inside of Rossi.
Makes that pass done. Further down, a little bit side by side. That's Devlin DiFrancesco in the blue and white machine there. Joseph Newgarden right behind. The McLarens all get through well in lockstep there. Can Palou hang on to his position? He's the only primary tire runner in the top 4, surrounded by cars on those softer red sidewalled alternate tires.
Now on the initial start, it looked like the red tires had the advantage, but now the black tire shot cars have temperature. They've done several laps in anger, and maybe things start to balance out. We'll be watching that, and here it is, the Arrow McLaren guys getting nasty on the back straight.
Look at this. Rossi comes back now on Rosenquist. That's at 180, 190 miles an hour. That is big speed up there.
Great move up the inside into turn 10. It's not a big brake zone. You're turning in 5th gear, just a brush of the brakes or to throw it in there. That takes some big commitment.
And in front of Rossi is Pato O'Ward, who gave him a little bit of a shoulder off into the dirt on that initial start. So I think Rossi is head down and pushing hard on the softer red tire.
Exactly. Both his teammates are on that harder black sidewalled primary tire. A little bit less grip, but hopefully doesn't degrade or fall off, slow down as much over a stint.
Bottom of that shot, there's a white car, the white and gold BitNile.com Chevy of Rinus VK. He's made up 4 positions from the start. The young Dutch driver has come to play. Let's talk more about Rossi, though, is Dylan Welsh.
Well, you guys mentioned his intensity at the start. They are worried that the Reds are going to fall off pretty quickly. So I think the goal early on, and as it always is on the Reds, is just go, go, go. Make up as many positions as you can, but especially if you're not sure how long they're going to last, which a lot of these teams aren't, you got to strike while you can and pick up as many spots as possible.
Well, just looking at the temperature, Dylan, just 68 ambient and track temp's only 79 degrees. Yesterday in final warm-up, the track temp was 110. That's why everybody's so confused. Warm-up is normally when you get a read on the tire compounds, but with the conditions being so different yesterday to today, they really have to learn on the fly in this first stint.
Tires were really the big question mark after that warm-up session because of those conditions. The Reds not really holding on, but everybody realizing that these different conditions, they really make it a different, different result when you're getting these miles on the Reds.
So the drivers are getting a read right now, Diff. So if you think you're weak on Reds early on in the stint, you might dump at about lap 14. That's when the window opens up for your first pit stop. If you're feeling good, you might run long to about lap 32 as Marcus Ericsson having a look on his fellow countryman Felix Rosenqvist, the two Swedish drivers going at it on the backstretch.
Let's take a little look back at this inter-team rivalry. Here's McLaren. This is Felix Rosenqvist on board, going on the inside of Alexander Rossi down there into turn 1. Again, on those harder black tires, good move there, but Rossi wanting to fight back. So he does. Out of turn 7, down the back straight into this really quick chicane, turn 10. Again, like I said, that takes so much commitment because the time on the brakes there is next to nothing, T-Bell.
How about the race leader, Graham Rahal, the 34-year-old American, father of 2, leads the way in the people-ready Honda. Yes, famous father Bobby, not here this weekend. Bobby's recovering from some knee surgery. Get well, Bobby. Quick recovery, get up on your feet. We'll see you back for the season finale next weekend, hopefully. So this man here led at the Gallagher Grand Prix, the second Grand Prix on the Indy Road Course recently, some 36 laps, but had the frustration of seeing Scott Dixon do a spin and win and deny him the victory. But there's Dad Bobby, Graham. That's the first pole in some 6 years, but when the checkered flag fell, Scott Dixon got the win. And Graham said, hey, when Dixon's in that mode, you can't do anything about that. But this car is in great shape. Rahal is feeling loose and flexible and fun. And Dylan, this is a great sign. See a guy who's been in open wheel racing for 17 years back at the front of an IndyCar race.
It is, and of course he survived maybe the biggest challenge of all today, getting through turn 1 and surviving that initial start with the race lead. So he's been pretty adamant since yesterday that their race car is better than their qualifying car, but they did not start off very happy on these alternate tires. Now the conditions, as we just discussed, have changed a lot through the weekend, but Graham said he feels a lot better about the potential for the alternates later in the race if they have to go to them. They're going to be better. They are better on the primary tires, which is kind of what they've got set up here to finish the race once they're done with this set. But if they have to run Reds later, I think Graham feels better about that than he did earlier in the weekend, and that's a good sign.
Yeah, that's a great point, Dylan. I mean, he's been happier on those blacks all weekend long. He even used them in Q3 to get the pole position. So the fact that he's able to sort of control the pace up front, slowly pulling away from Scott McLaughlin right now on these Reds, shows you he's actually doing very, very well as we see the 28 DHL Honda back on track after repairs from the Andretti Autosport squad.
Yeah, 10 laps down, so really nothing but hopefully a few more points if somebody were to fall out. That's the goal for Roman Grosjean. But out of it for a top 10 result today is Graham Rahal, up to 1.5 seconds and growing. And I think you're right, these cooler temperatures really fell into Graham Rahal's lap because the Reds were a struggle yesterday in the temperature. For Alex Palou, the first car on the black tires, he got exactly what he wanted, a clean start, made a couple positions, and now he can just settle in and connect the dots. Question is, as we approach lap 14, who might drop into pit lane and get off strategy early?
I just don't think anybody knows what the wrong tire is yet. I mean, right now you're waiting, if you're Alex Palou, you're waiting to see the red tires in front of you start to fall off. That hasn't happened yet. Maybe they're so good that it's actually the primary that's the weaker tire.
I'll tell you what it's time for. It's never too early to drop a little Dixie dust out there. So if you think you've got a chance here, Scott Dixon, start working the magic. You're 79 points behind as it runs right now. You're going to have to do something bold to make up ground on Alex Palou in the championship.
Let's give a shout out to one very important person in Alex Palou's racing life and life in general. and that's Barry Wanzer. Barry's the guy we always show you on the pit box of the 10 team, calling the shots. You hear Barry's voice on the radio. Barry's dealing with some curable cancer at the moment, so he's got a little bit of a battle on his hands, but there's some positive start to that battle. Barry's going to miss the next 2 race weekends. Mike O'Gara, a long-time Ganassi man, is on the box for him. Barry, we're thinking of you. Your racing family's thinking of you, mate, and I certainly know that Alex Palou's thinking of you. So speedy recovery, and we'll see you back for the 2024 season. Now's your chance to grab your mobile device and scan the QR code that's on the right-hand side of your screen there. With thanks to Hy-Vee, you could win a Corvette. Yes, Hy-Vee and Gatorade are giving you that opportunity, and there's 1 more left to win. Total of 4 given away this racing season. So thanks to Hy-Vee and Gatorade. Scan that QR code and good luck. Welcome back. You're watching the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. Lee Diffie, Townsend Bell, James Hinchcliffe, Dylan Welsh, Kevin Lee enjoying a day here in the Pacific Northwest. And so too is Graham Rahal. He's led all 16 laps thus far. There's Scott McLaughlin. Then championship leader Alex Palou. What about the Gainbridge Honda of Colton Herter, Kevin Lee? What kind of a chance does he have today?
He's got a chance, but he's going to have to make the Firestones last, and he's the first that I've heard that wants to bail. 2 laps ago, he said, I'm struggling. 20 seconds ago, he said, we need to pit as soon as possible.
Well, technically, we're in the window. You could definitely get in there now.
It's right on board for a few corners, especially here. Listen to the power down. Sound too bad there. Colton Herta stays out for another lap.
Been really patient with his throttle application.
We're going to lose spots against company.
So if that's the case, and for teams monitoring Colton Herta's radio, this is a signal that this might be a black race to finish. If Colton Herta started on sticker reds and we're at lap 18 and he's begging to come to pit lane, you're going to have to run blacks. Meanwhile, though, Graham Rahal, very consistent up front, so a lot of it can be set up with the race car because Graham Rahal's not having any issues as the gap throws to McLaughlin now 2.5 seconds.
I mean, clean air is king, and right now, Graham Rahal is the fastest car on track because he's not running in the dirty air of any other car and hasn't had to this whole time. That will mean his tires won't have had to work as hard as a Scott McLaughlin.
Look at the dirtiness on the back straightaway in terms of the marbles. All that spent rubber, that gets really treacherous in a side-by-side situation as the Gainbridge Honda peels off and comes to pit lane along with, I think, Alexander Rossi and Marcus Ericsson.
Second last race for Marcus Ericsson in those Husky colors for Chip Ganassi Racing. He is off to Andretti Autosport next year. Dylan Welsh is standing by with Alexander Rossi. Take it away.
Yeah, and a couple of these cars, I think all these cars are all the ones that started on the alternates. That's the case for Ericsson. That's the case for Rossi as well. Sticker primaries going on for a lot of these cars, Kevin.
The Gainbridge Honda is also in. He wanted to get off those softer alternates. Let's see what the primaries do. Colton was one of those really concerned if the reds would last long enough. He might be done with them today.
Ericsson's been able to leapfrog Rossi. There he is there in the red and white Husky Honda.
Now this might factor pretty importantly into Graham Rahal's situation because remember, Graham had to use sticker black tires to win the pole position, which means he has 1 fewer fresh sets of blacks.
But if you listen to Graham's interview, he said they saved a set throughout practice, used 1 fewer sets.
Left front hurt for sure. Copy.
Of primaries. That gap to McLaughlin is sort of now held station around 2 seconds, but look at this battle. Christian Lundgaard, that's Rinus VeeKay now up the inside of Alex Rossi on his outlap on those primaries.
He's on push to pass, the steering wheel lighting up all green for Christian Lundgaard, so he's using the extra boost, and Rossi on the button to defend.
Oh boy, we've just got a message from race control. 26, the Gainbridge Honda of Colton Herta. Pit lane speed violation. He gets a penalty.
Oh, for Andretti Autosport this day, half their crew here with Grosjean and Herta. Big issues in the first 20 laps. Grosjean with the contact now runs 10 laps down, and now Colton Herta goes all the way to the back.
And let's not forget, Kyle Kirkwood was turfed by Joseph Newgarden in turn 1, had to take to the runoff. He's down in 13th. Now, Kirkwood's actually in an interesting position because he pit under that yellow. He's got a couple extra laps of fuel in that car, and we've seen over the last couple weeks, depending on how the yellows play, that might come into account later in the day.
and he's running 13th at the moment. Let's talk about Scott Dixon in the PNC Bank Honda. Dylan?
And Mike Cole, the strategist, just told Scott Dixon these red tires are starting to fade, so just keep doing what we're doing here. I think they may try to go about another 10 laps or so. And to that point, Graham Rahal, the race leader, just came on the radio and said the left front's hurt pretty bad, so I think they're getting ready to come in for the race leader.
That was a good scrap earlier with, here's the race leader. Graham Rahal, the People Ready Honda.
Take a look at that.
1.5 second lead at the moment.
Take a look at that left front. You can see all the feathering. Yes, I think you do pit.
Yeah, with Palou getting around McLaughlin, he's absolutely eating into that lead.
Let's stay out. We'll box next lap.
Let's stay out. We'll box this lap.
I think next lap.
Next lap.
Oh,
next
sorry.
One more.
I don't know, man. Palou is really eating into that lead.
And who's that car? That's Yuri Vips, Graham's teammate. And if he's overly slow, struggling, that might hold Graham up quite a bit on this in-lap as McLaughlin now ducks in for the undercut.
It's going to be interesting. Kevin Lee standing by. It'll be interesting to see what this lap looks like for Rahal. But first, here's McLaughlin.
And everyone that started on the alternate red sidewalls, they were stickers, so they've satisfied that requirement. Going to primary Firestone shell fuel. That's a really quick stop for the thirsty threes, and McLaughlin is out.
How about that? 5.8 seconds. That's going to matter when Graham Rahal comes in. Only 22 laps, so you didn't need full fuel. That means the gunslingers at Team Penske getting it done on pit lane. Graham will come in this lap, and we'll see a blend when he comes out.
Yeah, you see him burning push to pass there. You want that in-lap to be as quick as possible. Same with that out-lap, so crucial in these green flag cycles. But look, Alex Palou has completely eliminated that lead as the number 15 dives to pit lane. Kept that speed in check, Graham.
Well, talking of that, Tom Blomqvist has got a pit lane speed violation penalty as well. Dylan's there with Rahal.
And the balance went from good on lap 15 to the left front's really hurt on lap 18. So that's how quickly it changes. Looks like a smooth stop. Rahal gets away a little bit slowly, but we'll see if we can beat McLaughlin.
All right, where is he in relation? You'll look to the right of your screen and see McLaughlin. Here he comes, turn 12. Graham's crawling down pit lane here. Here comes the Freightliner Chevy down the front straight. He's at speed. Rahal to get off that pit lane speed limiter.
Graham will be there first, but on cold black tires as McLaughlin has a full lap of temperature in his Firestones.
Remember, when he pit McLaughlin, he was about 2.7 seconds behind Graham. So by the time we end this first lap, I mean, he's going to chew him up through this section with the warm tires to Graham's cold. It will be definitely a net gain for the thirsty threes.
Graham is sliding around. He's doing everything he can to maximize his corner exit without sliding the rear. Could be game on by the time they come to the front stretch, Diff.
Well, we're watching a fantastic battle. How about the wonderful sportsmanship between these two? McLaughlin was bummed yesterday not to get back-to-back poles here, but the first thing he did was walk over to the guy he's in pursuit of yesterday and shake his hand and say, well done. Now these two, while they fight, they've got to keep a watchful eye on where Alex Palou is in the big scheme of things as Rahal wriggles off turn 12. And we ride the Freightliner Chevy to see if he can get this position away from Rahal.
Might not happen in the brake zone, but Diff, you make a great point. If they fight too hard, that's going to help Alex Palou once he decides to pit. He'll be making good time. McLaughlin now all over the gearbox of Rahal.
Yeah, if we're looking at a 29-second loss to pit, Alex Palou right now 32 seconds clear of this battle between Graham Rahal and Scott McLaughlin. So a pit stop in hand, even Dixon would come out right in the thick of this battle. So both those Ganassi cars going to try to stay out, extend this stint, try to extend that lead, and see if they can both use the overcut to get ahead.
All that dust flying, we got a report that was the 27 of Kyle Kirkwood in the AutoNation Honda, got pushed off track. Meanwhile, these two stay at it, Rahal and McLaughlin, but we keep an eye on Palou in the big scheme of things. And how is this going to work out for the championship leader? By the way, think about Palou leading a lap. That's going to give him a bonus point. That makes Scott Dixon's championship pursuit even harder.
Great point. Bonus points available, 1 for pole, 1 for leading a lap, and 2 for leading the most laps on top of the 50 for a win, 54 maximum points available. But as we said, All Palou has to do, Kev, is finish on the podium today, and the championship is locked.
And he might do it from victory lane because I think it has turned a bit. Look at the gap. It's now 33 seconds to Graham Rahal. Time lost on pit lane is anywhere between 28 and 32 seconds. He's picked up 3 seconds on Graham in the last couple of laps. He does not have to pit for another 8 laps or so.
But this guy can help out his teammate Graham Rahal. Yuri Vips, the rookie, can hold up Alex Palou a little bit, make his life difficult, and help Graham claw back some of that gap that he needs.
In his first drive for Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing, he could be the ultimate teammate. He's learning his way with the team, the car, the series, the track, and he's got the champion-elect right behind him, but he could help his teammate Graham Rahal big time. The BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland continues. There is just one race left in the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series after today. That is next weekend at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. By the way, the recently resurfaced Laguna Seca, so it's going to be an exciting time to see all 27 IndyCars there as we have 82 laps to go here in Portland. Here's Kyle Kirkwood, made mention of him earlier, and his incident from earlier is under review. Let's have a look at what happened. That's Augustine Canapino to the left in the black and green car for Hunko's Hollinger Racing.
Well, if there was any review, it would be for Canapino. But anytime you're trying to pass on the outside, or in this case, maybe Canapino was making a move up the inside.
Oh, this is what they're reviewing.
Oh,
Ryan Hunter-Reay.
Oh, boy. Oh, that is nasty.
That's naughty. That is naughty for sure. It's not, I think we call it the back straight, but it's not straight, as you know, T-Balance. Watch this here. The gentle fade over.
Yeah, you can't do that.
Wow.
And Ryan
hey, that's a huge penalty.
Yeah, you are right, Ryan Hunter-Reay, as two Arrow McLaren teammates, the 5 and 6 O'Ward and Rosenquist, Kev, coming to you.
So Felix Rosenquist had a fast car. Remember, he had a mechanical in qualifying, fastest in the first round yesterday. So he's someone from his starting position of 11th, could maybe move up. Primary to primary, Shell Fuel, Rosenquist back out.
And we're on borrowed time as far as seeing Felix's. There's a quick, good race off pit lane between the teammates there. And O'Ward comes back on the inside of Felix. They almost touch.
O'Ward should have the advantage on the Reds in a couple of corners, but not if he slides off track.
They were briefly 3 wide as Ryan Hunter-Reay came swinging around the outside. Interesting, though, that Felix has gone to the primaries as Pato has gone to the alternates. That means Felix still has to run a set of reds before this race is over as Power now tries to line up. O'Ward can't get it done.
Yeah, O'Ward on the reds because he started on blacks, but to your point, Rosenquist is kicking the can down the road a bit.
And to finish that point, we're on borrowed time to see Felix in Arrow McLaren colors. The general consensus is he's moving on for the 2024 season. This is Newgarden in. Kev?
And he also started further back than what the pace of the car showed because he crashed in qualifying, so starting 12th. He has an extra set of sticker reds if he wants them. Back out with new Firestones and Shell Fuel.
This could get a little crazy. Look at McLaughlin and Rahal there. They're stuck in traffic as Newgarden comes out on cold tires. Graham Rahal to the outside.
And that's put a little bit of a buffer, not much. That just halted McLaughlin for a second.
And all of this is perfect for Alex Palou because these guys are all jammed up as Palou now comes to the pit lane with 41 seconds over Rahal.
And looking very racy in the background is Marcus Ericsson. We'll get back to that in a moment. Race leader, championship leader is in. Kevin.
And I think he's going to be racing Felix Rosenquist. He's the best that went long in the first, and it's a 38-second gap. This is the alternate run, so this could determine the race. If he can make this a normal stint, Alex Palou might be home free to a championship.
Wow, there is a huge gap from where Palou is in comparison to Rahal. Rahal's only in turn 12 now.
Yeah, but O'Ward and Rosenquist are effectively ahead of Rahal and McLaughlin. But everybody having made one stop.
That's who you're looking at from this People Ready onboard at Graham Rahal. So still a healthy margin for Alex Palou over these drivers. It's Scott Dixon, his teammate, who's staying out longer. Let's see if he can use the hot tires he's on right now to pull off a quick lap before he comes to the pits and maybe actually able to leapfrog Alex Palou.
Race control has asked Kyle Kirkwood to give up 2 placings for that incident with Ryan Hunter-Reay, and the final car to pit in this race is the guy who's won the last 2 races in succession. Here comes Scott Dixon.
And they had a little bit of lap traffic that Dixon was dealing with, so we'll see if this in-lap was able to be a clean one. They've got another set of sticker primaries laid out. Mike Cole wanted to give it another run just to learn a little bit more and let the track rubber in before they switch to alternate tires. So a quick stop for Dixon. We'll see where he blends in.
Took a precious extra second or 2, James, to get that front wing change in, as Alex Palou is going to go blowing by there at the bottom of the screen. Out comes Dixon into clean air, so Ganassi effectively running 1-2.
Pato award going on the inside of Kyle Kirkwood. I'm not sure if that's one of the positions that Kirkwood's having to relinquish as part of that penalty for blocking Ryan Hunter-Reay.
So David Maluka is at the top of the charts, but he was one of the cars that topped up on that first caution on lap 4, so he'll have to pit in a few more laps, but he leads right now.
Same time as Kyle Kirkwood came in. So then you're looking at Palou, Dixon, Rosenquist, Ward, Rahal, McLaughlin.
So guys, I'm looking at the drivers that started on the alternates on that red sidewall tire, and some of them it really didn't work. You look at Alexander Rossi, he was running right with his teammates, his McLaren teammates, Rosenquist and O'Ward. They're up in 4th and 5th right now after this first round of stops. Rossi all the way down in 11th. He's lost a ton of track position.
But the guy who's figured out how to do a pretty good job, I think, is Marcus Ericsson's probably the best. No, still Rahal and McLaughlin in terms of the red tire cars. They're the furthest up the field.
But remember, Ericsson started back in 8th.
Yep.
And for the drivers on that tire strategy, he's going to essentially come out 3rd.
So power a lap down, and Graham Rahal probably going to start to grow with some frustration and trying to figure out, can I get past the Team Penske driver? Because meanwhile, up front, Alex Palou, I mean, this is just the stuff dreams are made of. Clean air and the effective lead of the race.
And racing to a championship to put it beyond doubt here today. Let's go inside the American Legion number 10 team at Chip Ganassi Racing. Have a look, have a listen.
Yeah, fast as you can here. We need to push, but we need to take care of these a little bit. They got to do a half a stint. Okay.
So I think that means we'll probably see him pit around 46, 47 in that range, and they're still in line to get home. As you see, David Malukas coming in, and Palou is just told, hey, you don't need to pass him. He's got to stop in a couple of laps or so. As far as where Scott Dixon is in, Mike O'Gara, who you just heard, said, I don't want him to even think about where Scott Dixon is. Run your race. He did ask what the gap was and was told 6 seconds back. Pretty easy for Alex Palou to figure it out right now. He's in front, and that's all that matters.
All right, well, let's have a look at the pit stop, pit time differential powered by NTT and the difference between the two teammates, the only 2 championship contenders left.
Yeah, you see that in lap 7/10, almost 8/10 of a second to the good for Alex Palou. We heard Scott Dixon had a little bit of lap traffic. Time on pit lane, advantage to the 9 crew. Outlap almost identical, so you see that total 6/10 of a second in Palou's favor, really down to that in lap. That lap traffic playing against Scott Dixon and the number 9, but still that 6-second gap he has right now is healthy. And all you got to do if you're Palou is put your head down, take care of these alternates for 10 more laps, and it's looking real rosy.
The big picture story is if Alex Palou finishes on the podium today, regardless of where Scott Dixon finishes, it is over. He doesn't have to win the race, just on the podium, and it's beyond doubt.
This is a fascinating battle. The Team Penske teammates of McLaughlin and Newgarden there as Palou exits turn 6 and now turn 7. That gap to Dixon, but on board here with McLaughlin, up in front of McLaughlin is Joseph Newgarden. There's a fierce inter-team rivalry between those 2 drivers to be the best Team Penske driver on the season. Right now, as they run, Newgarden 3rd in the championship, McLaughlin 5th, but separated by just 16 points.
And McLaughlin is driven to get 3rd, to be a top 3 in the championship. In his first year in 2021, he finished 14th. Last year, he finished 4th. And this guy is all about progression and improvement and succession. And he said, yes, I want more race wins, but yes, I want that 3rd in the championship.
And Newgarden's about to make a move here, maybe on Graham Rahal. He's been closing on him. Newgarden's pace actually looks great.
I was just going to say, guys, this is Graham Rahal was your pole sitter. Scott McLaughlin was outside pole. Joseph Newgarden started down in 12th. So
And had that lap one skirmish.
And had to go through the runoff on that first lap kind of quietly. He's absolutely inserted himself into the conversation for a great result here.
And he is one that's being very aggressive right now on the softer red tire. He started on the black, but he knows, like Palou, he's only got to hang on to these till about lap 45, 48. So while they're grippy, make it count.
The pole man, Graham Rahal. The People Ready Honda, he runs 6th. Alex Palou leads. The BitNile Metaverse is a new social networking community where you can purchase both digital and physical products while playing 3D immersive games. Now, in celebration of the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland, BitNile.com is expanding their social gaming experience with the launch of Blackjack this weekend. You can even drive a virtual BitNile.com IndyCar at the famed Indianapolis Motor Speedway. And there is the BitNile.com Chevy, one of 2 of them in the field. This is Rinus VeeKay, who's in the top 10. He's had a good weekend. He's been fast all weekend. And Kevin Lee is standing by with a fast young man who's already celebrating a championship victory.
If those that don't know need to learn this young man's name, Miles Rowe, 23-year-old from just outside of Atlanta, has won a scholarship to move up to one step below IndyCar, Indy next season. And let's go back to 3 years ago when every driver is looking for budget. You didn't have it. Penske Entertainment gave you a chance through their Drive for Diversity and Quality program. Did you ever dream you'd be in this position?
Yeah, man, I mean, I dreamt of this ever since I was 4 years old, you know, watching Formula One on TV. And yeah, it's a thrill to be here. It's one of those things where it's a goal. And I'm very confident. I'm a very enthusiastic person when it comes to my goals, and I knew I'd be able to accomplish it. It was just about how and when. And yesterday was the day, 2nd September 2023. So yeah, I'm glad to be here, but I always knew I would be. And yeah, we're not stopping now. I'm still hungry.
Miles won the USF Pro 2000 championship, and it's appropriate that we see Will Power come in and out of the pits because Will had a lot to do with you getting this opportunity.
Yeah, Will's been extremely pivotal in my career. Ever since back in 2014 when he first saw me, you know, my first day racing go-karts, he was there, you know, passing me and then like coming behind me and putting pressure on me, you know, teaching me how to basically race on my first day in go-karts. And that was just extraordinary for me as a kid. And ever since then, he's followed me and kind of pushed me along and kind of watched me as I went up through my career. And yeah, when Force Indy came along, he helped me basically get involved in the program and get a test going and show my stuff. And yeah, here we are now winning a championship in USF Pro 2000.
Congratulations. We'll see you in Indy next season. Hey guys, a lot of people that are smarter than I am about judging talent say Miles Rowe is going to be an IndyCar star.
It's a fantastic story. Can I just elaborate on it a little bit? You know what happened this morning when we woke up here in the States is that one of the best to ever race in Formula One, Lewis Hamilton, put on his Instagram story a congratulatory image to Miles Rowe. Can you imagine how much that means to Miles Rowe to have Will Power and Lewis Hamilton in your corner as you're chasing your racing dreams? He became the first African-American driver to win a major open-wheel title in the United States, and that's what Lewis did earlier today. Fantastic. What a time in this young man's life.
Yeah, it's a great story. I just love the way he raced his way to a championship. He started off pretty rocky, had some bumps and bruises like we all do, Hinch, but then he figured it out. He settled in, one of the fastest young guys out there. So Will Power, some of the fastest hands ever in this sport. Nobody's had more pole positions, and you can't pick a better mentor or coach than Power.
Now, guys, I'm looking at the gap between Palou and Dixon. It was 6 seconds not that long ago. Right now, it's down to 3. Last lap, 7/10 advantage to Scott Dixon. You can see in this replay here the damage to that left front tire. It's just starting to shred. He's getting really close to that window where he can get off these alternates, but this is definitely showing you they're not the right tire to be on.
Yeah, but he also knows he's got to hang on for maybe 3 or 4 more laps here. That feathering is pretty significant, but Dixon on the black tire as he passes
Blomqvist.
Blomqvist, excuse me. Dixon has to run the reds later on in this race, so it should come back to balance for Alex Palou.
And it doesn't matter if Scott Dixon wins the race if Palou's on the podium. So he can let his teammate go to get the victory. So long as he follows him home, he will still win the 2023 NTT IndyCar Series Championship. Dylan?
And this is very valuable for the Chip Ganassi Racing teammates, and specifically for Dixon, to just learn how long these reds are going to last, because as you said, he's got to run them the next stint. And he told me before he climbed in the car, today he's just about giving ourselves options to do something different than the 10. We figured they'd start on the same plane as us, but mid-race we've got to do something different. And Mike Cole told him, save fuel here on this stint because we're on the blacks, but this pace is good and we're catching him. So Scott has a really good understanding when he gets the reds on of exactly what he needs to do.
67 laps to go in this BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. There's the difference, 3 seconds exactly between the teammates, the top two in the championship.
I mean, if you're Chip Ganassi right now, you are just swimming in whipped cream. You're just sitting back and enjoying your two top drivers running 1-2. You know you've already won a championship, but this is just pretty awesome to see both these drivers put all of their team's hard work to good use. And it's going to be a cat and mouse game to the finish between Dixon and Palou, as Rosenqvist in the game, but another driver that still has to run the softer red tire. Let's watch a little Firestone telemetry. How fast does Rosenqvist hit here on the back straight?
Just shy of 180.
He's had to race pretty hard, and mainly with his teammates, to get to this point today, Diff. It's an incredible run from Rosenqvist. And Kevin, I think Rosenqvist has been one of the hottest free agents over the last probably 2 weeks, once Marcus Ericsson, his future came into view.
And I think it's because of the pace that he has. You look at the results, and it's not been great, but he's had at least 3 races this season. Now, he's had a couple of races where he made a mistake, but others out of his control. He could be a lot better than 13th in points at this point. And yeah, everybody thinks he's headed to Meyer-Shank. I think we're going to see an announcement sometime this week. By the way, he was really good at Indy, similar tire, so it's not a surprise that Rosenqvist and the McLarens are strong here today. Not quite as strong as the Ganassis.
And was dealt a pretty harsh blow in qualifying. He could have been a little bit higher than from where he started in 11th, because he was one of the quickest cars in qualifying, but then when it got to the crucial phases, he had a mechanical. He was frustrated. So too was the team. It was out of their hands, so that's fueling Felix. He's powering on a little bit harder. Speaking of Chip Ganassi Racing, and we're waiting on confirmation of this young man, it's the Kiwi, Marcus Armstrong, in the Ridgeline Lubricants Honda, car 11, position 11, and now boasts a 28-point championship lead in the Rookie of the Year standings.
Yeah, this is sort of what we expected once Armstrong rejoined after skipping the ovals, was being in a Chip Ganassi car and opening up that lead with Augustine Canapino, who's done a fantastic job with the smaller Juncos Hollinger team this year. Armstrong hanging on to the tail end of the lead pack, and lap 47, as Chip Ganassi watches on, he knows that for Alex Palou, he's got to hang on maybe for just one more lap, as Dylan continues to close on his teammate.
Well, and they just told Dixon, go to position 1, and that margin of lead for Palou has shrunk every single lap. So I'm just curious if they're just kind of thinking, let's push Palou here. We know he's struggling. Let's take advantage of that one, but maybe push him into coming a lap earlier than they want to if the tires really go away.
Especially with that lap traffic of Stingray Robb holding up Palou. I think you got to bring Palou this lap.
Yeah, I think it's the right call as well. There's no point letting Dixon get any closer. We know he's still got to do his stint. He's still got to, you know, pay the piper and get the alternates on that 9 car. But this is just killing his lap time, being stuck behind Stingray Robb right now.
Scott Dixon going for 3 wins in succession. He has done that before in his illustrious career. He wants to push it to the final opportunity, to next weekend in California, to keep this championship alive. He said it last week after winning at Worldwide Technology Raceway. I'm not taking my foot off the gas until I know it's mathematically, physically not possible to win a 7th, a record-tying 7th. We were talking about Lewis Hamilton before with 7 Formula One World Championships. Dixon could do that this year. It's highly unlikely, but he's not giving up, and here comes Palou.
Caught it there, T-Bell. That was the right move into the pits. Now it's just all about a clean stop and a fast out lap.
Well, and also, where does he come out relative to traffic? Dixon sits behind Stingray Robb. We think Dixon will run another 15 laps before he pits for Reds. Kevin, here's the championship leader.
And the debate came until 5 seconds before the commit line. He said, I can do another lap if you want me to. No, come on in. He has satisfied the alternate. He can run primary Firestones the rest of the way.
Now maybe somewhere around, who's guy? I guess that's Elio. That's the next car behind him.
Overtake. Mixture 1, overtake.
So that's the call, overtake. You want to try to get up to speed as quickly as possible on that outlap. Elio Castro.
Don't get a blocking penalty, Alex Palou.
That was marginal.
Absolutely deserving of review. I don't care if it's Elio Castroneves, who you're not battling at the lead. That looked like a move in reaction to.
So let's see what race control says. And the stewards, Ari Leindyke, Max Pappas. Pappas, a pole winner and race winner here at Portland International. What do they have to say about it?
What'd you make of that?
You got to look at it, because not only did he move drivers right, maybe after Castroneves did, then Castroneves went back to the left, and so did Palou. He didn't hold that line into turn 1. Let's take another look at it. So coming through turn 1 and 2, Castroneves on those hot tires, gets that good traction, tries to go to the outside. Now here's where he goes, Meartown's in there. He's pulled out, and then that's almost 2 blocks.
I mean, there was a lot of movement up there, but he left room for Castroneves, so.
But it's movement in reaction too. The 06 is there, it goes back to the left,
Yeah,
then the
that
10
one
goes back to the
That
left.
swerve back to the left, I don't know.
What does race control have to say about that?
We saw this happen to Kyle Kirkwood. It was a 2 positions given up on the racetrack, so we'll see what happens here. And guys, I want to talk about Kyle Kirkwood real quick. Townsend, I mentioned earlier those cars that had to pit, or that came into pit under that first yellow, that might come into play. I think it has, because Kyle Kirkwood, running right now in 12th, pit last on lap 39. He did a 35-lap stint to get there, which means he can actually do this race if he's good with his fuel, and as he goes by Joseph Newgarden on just 1 more stop. All the leaders are going to have to do it on 2, but I think Brian Herta behind the strategy in this car might be working some magic again.
Well, we'd have to ride on board once he cleared Newgarden, because it looked like Kyle Kirkwood was using every drop of Shell fuel available.
And Newgarden had just come out of the pits, by the way. You may have noticed that on the graphic, as Castroneves dives for the pits right now.
Let's listen to this turn 1. Let's see if we can get a sense of fuel save.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he is going for 1 more stop, guys. This is going to be fascinating. It's not going to put him in contention for the win necessarily, but right now he's 44 seconds behind the leader. 29 seconds lost on pit lane. They're so far up the road. This could be a top 5 on the cards for a guy that got hit on lap 1.
And that guy in the lower right-hand corner of your screen has used savvy, clever strategy so many times with young drivers, namely Alexander Rossi, to win the Indy 500.
Look at these 2 guys, Graham Rahal, Scott McLaughlin. They're on pit lane. Dylan Welsh is there.
And he was saving fuel on that stint just to try to make this stop as short as possible. Gently used primary tires going on, and a quick turn of front wing for Rahal.
Down and away. Nice quick run there, Kev, for as the 3 comes in.
So Scott McLaughlin is all the way out and pit out. You see Pato O'Ward just came in, comes right around him as well. McLaughlin desperately wants to finish as the top Penske in the championship. He's got an opportunity to do that, and he's going to race right on pit lane.
Oh, that was close.
Watch this, cold tires. This is like driving on ice for Rahal and McLaughlin.
Do you see a drop of rain on that lens, or is that just fuel coming, or the spray water coming off the back of... Oh, here we go.
Ericsson goes through. It is overcast here in Portland. There goes VK. Rinus, VK. That's the difference between cold and hot tires.
I have never seen a pass on the inside right there where Rinus VK just got around that orange and white car of Graham Rahal, and now the McLaren's right on the back of McLaughlin, going to be on the outside of 7.
By the way, message from race control. The Palou Castroneves thing, never put under review.
Only in the booth.
By you. Look at this drag race, approaching 180 miles an hour. Couple of Chevys hard at it. Awesome stuff here in Portland. Dixon in control, Palou in the championship seat. A reminder that September is Suicide Prevention Awareness Month. Be the One is the American Legion's initiative to end veteran suicide. Each weekend, we have a veteran service officer on site to assist veterans with their VA benefits, in addition to thanking them for their service by offering free water, personalized lanyards, and other giveaways. To learn more, visit betheone.org. And Alex Palou, the champion-elect, has proudly boasted that American Legion livery and sponsorship and partnership, Chip Ganassi Racing, for a long time now, and been a proud ambassador of the American Legion and Be the One. Be the one to ask, be the one to make sure you take care of the veterans, and be the one to help prevent veteran suicide. Now, there was a little bit of action during the break between this Pink Auto Nation Honda two-time winner this season, Kyle Kirkwood, and Joseph Newgarden. Rewind the clock to lap 1, turn 1. These two guys came together here, and they do it again.
Yeah, I don't know if Kirkwood knew he was there. I mean, he had a very decisive late turn-in, but Newgarden already had position. And then this happened later, just behind Kirkwood. Marcus Ericsson side by side with Rinus VeeKay.
Yeah, VeeKay's been throwing it in left, right, and center. I mean, that one's a bit on the edge for sure, just kind of firing the 8 off, but we've seen other cars do that without penalty, left them zero room on the exit. Kirkwood doing his best to try to keep cars behind him. Like we said, he's hitting a fuel number big time, which makes him so vulnerable at the end of these long straightaways. Rinus VeeKay with the attack mode we've seen him in right now. He knows that the 27's trying to save fuel, but look at Marcus Armstrong now in that green Ridgeline Honda.
21 to go, but he's got 11 right behind him.
Yep, he's got 11 right behind him. They let him go. Armstrong lines up for a shot, but it's easy to go back to the Indianapolis Road Course a couple of years ago when Rinus VeeKay got his first and only IndyCar win to say that's the template. I want to go back to Barber Motorsports Park where he almost won, and to me, the mood this weekend that Rinus VeeKay has displayed is similar to that. He's been in the top 10 in most of the sessions. He's looked racy, it's legitimate speed, and it's good to see the young man in the mix.
Yeah, and you can see the totally different driving styles based on strategy. The 21 is in full send mode, the 27 fuel save mode, trying to make it on one more stop. VeeKay only has one more stop as well. Dylan.
And just quickly on Rinus VeeKay, this, as you guys said, has been a weekend full of just optimism and confidence. After the first practice session, he said, this was our best session of the year, and that speed has continued here. This was a race that they felt like a good result slipped away from them last year. They were inside the top 10 before a penalty for some contact with a lap car. So said that they knew they had something on the table here. They just had to execute today, and so far they have.
This is Felix Rosenquist in the NTT data machine.
And he still has a set of alternates that he needs to run, but he's not going to do it on this stint. One more set of primaries, but he's got a sticker set here in the pit lane, and he went long that stint, so he's maybe going to get a little shorter stint. He still needs to go long. He should cycle out third, and maybe still has a chance to be a factor in this race.
It's a risky strategy, James, because it commits you to big-time danger zone at the end, making that last stop pretty late. Should a yellow come out? But Rosenquist has done a great job racing to the front today. The pace has been good, but they'll opt for the sticky reds for the final probably 15 laps.
Yeah, I think you have to look at the race playing out green. You cannot sort of make a strategy on the assumption that a yellow may or may not come. We've had a very clean race so far. So by going long in all these stints, not only is he minimizing the amount of time he's got to spend on the reds, he's shortening how much fuel that needs to go into that number 6 McLaren on that last stop, so he could have a speedy one, and it could still cycle forward him.
And the guy that's also on the same strategy is Scott Dixon.
Dixon last pitted on lap 32. By the way, talking about clean race, is the weather going to have an impact? Reports of raindrops here at Portland International Raceway. Just little drops, but there is some precipitation. All right, let's take a look at some pit stop window prediction powered by NTT.
It's because of the different programs that are being run right now. Alex Palou, his window quite different than Scott Dixon. Scott Dixon's going to be in here pretty soon. And then Kirkwood, you go back to that lap there, lap 75. That's the magic number for him. He ran a 35 lap stint before this. If he can get to 75, that's 35 to the end, so he can make that work. As he loses another place to Rahal, and here comes Scott Dixon.
Gotta think he's gonna go to sticker reds for this stint, I would assume. But we don't know. Dylan, what do you see ready to pull on the number 9?
Yeah, that's what they've had laid out, and again, that is what they're going to do. So Dixon can run these for probably 16 or 17 laps, and then get in their window, get them off as soon as the window opens to go back to the primary tires, the preferred tire to finish. So first stint here and first opportunity in the race for Dixon to see what the Reds are going to do.
And the job is clear for Scott Dixon. Get these tires hot and then go as hard as you can. We should see a blend battle right here with Felix Rosenqvist. Dixon on cold reds. It'll take a few corners to build the temp.
So that cycles Alex Palou back to the top of this race. The championship leader, all he needs to do is finish on the podium, regardless of where Dixon finishes in that car up ahead. The view from Rosenqvist, and Palou will be the champion.
These guys used to be teammates, James. Huge respect from Rosenqvist for Dixon. Here's a chance right here.
The lunge into 7. Is Rosie going to try it? Doesn't quite get close enough to make it happen. Dixon doing a masterful job getting up to speed on those reds.
That might have been Rosenqvist's chance.
On the button right now, he's just hunting down that number 9 car.
It is so tough to execute a pass right here. Broaching 180 miles an hour into turn 10, turn 11. Final turn on the track. Let's ride with Felix.
Oh, I think he let Dixon get that tire temp, get the pressures up. Dixon,
Okay, let's go get him.
On the button. Oh,
Whoa!
Dixon almost lost it. That's the thing, the outlap. If you're not fully pressured up and you hit that curve down at the apex of 1, you can case the bottom of the car. Speaking of being on the button, how many push-to-pass seconds are left? They started with 200 seconds, and Dixon, wow. That's unusual for Scott Dixon to be that liberal on push-to-pass.
I'm going
just past halfway.
I'm going all the way down to Graham Rahal. He is in big trouble on push-to-pass. 16 of 200 seconds left, and he still has a whole pit stop cycle to get through.
Let's have it go back and show you this battle between Scott Dixon, Felix Rosenqvist, and that's where Dixon got out of shape, caught it. Rosenqvist was able to close the gap, but Dixon remains ahead and is now stabilized and pulled out a little bit more of an advantage over Rosenqvist. Felix's teammate Pato Award sits 4th and Joseph Newgarden 5th. Rinus VeeKay is poised for his best result of the season if he can hang on. 48 laps to go. We're into the second half of the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. But here he is, the Ed Carpenter racer, doing great. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hy-Vee. This racing season, you can help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting Hy-Vee.com. Custom Entertainment. We're not just passionate about entertainment, we helped define it. And by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Only pay for what you need. Beautiful shot high above Portland International Raceway for the second to last event of the year in the NTT IndyCar Series. And there is the key point on the circuit through turns 1, 2, and 3 as we pick up race leader, championship leader Alex Palou with a healthy advantage over his title rival and teammate Scott Dixon.
So the lead is 10 seconds for Alex Palou, and we already know it's going to be a Chip Ganassi championship. We talk a lot about the driver, the strategist. Let's highlight the engineer, and Julian Robertson is a lifer with Chip Ganassi Racing. Celebrate his 30th anniversary with the team last week. He engineered their very first win with Michael Andretti in 1994, was the lead engineer for Scott Dixon's first championship in 2003, then was the technical director for many years, overseeing the whole program, but came back on a specific car with Alex Palou. Won a championship together in their first year, and he's on the brink of winning 2 in 3 years with this young driver. What a story.
They're a great group, the 10 team, so cohesive. And let's not forget either, while there's a lot of talk, and justifiably so, about the championship, the pending championship, but there's also the pending problem facing Alex Palou, and that is Hinch. We're going back around the roundabout of litigation and legal problems and the challenge that involves the Ganassi racer and McLaren Racing, where he was meant to be headed next year. We now know that that is not the case, and Zach Brown, the CEO of McLaren Racing, says that, hang on a second, we had an agreement, so that's going to be sorted out in the courts. And that all is in the background, but it's beneath this championship celebration that is happening right now.
Yeah, he finds himself in this position in the championship because of a cool, calm, collected run, and it's been anything but that from an off-track standpoint. Yeah. But unlike last year, we don't see the dip in form, you know, that we saw when the initial contractual issues crept up. He has maintained his composure, he's maintained his speed.
Look, he says the same thing, whether it's on track or off track. Try to catch me.
Yeah. I tell you what's nice from a personal standpoint for him is that he has his best mate here from Spain. They grew up together, and if he does indeed clinch his second NTT IndyCar Series championship, that'll be terrific to have a mate from home here in Portland to celebrate with him. Got a healthy advantage at the moment over his teammate. And then drift back through the other numbers. Rosenquist behind Dixon, O'Ward his teammate, Newgarden 5, VK 6th, Marcus Armstrong sitting really nice in 7th, and poleman Graham Rahal, Marcus Ericsson, and Kyle Kirkwood. Let's talk more about Felix Rosenquist.
Got a chance for his second podium of the season, and we talked before and guessed what we think they're doing to try to shorten the last stint. Let's hear from the 16.
Lyco an 85, an 85.
Only if you're not losing track position.
You know, if you can stay on his gearbox here, stay on his gearbox and get that, that'd be awesome.
Because he's got to run the alternates in the last stint, so he needs to go longer. It'd be really hard to do a full 31 laps on those alternates. So he's got to go as long as he can on this stint.
Yeah, that's a good point, Kev. Pitted on 58, so he's only 10 laps in here. I think they'll run him all the way to about lap 95, 96 to shorten up that final stint. As you said, the only thing is that insurance policy. It does open him up to the danger of a yellow over the last, say, 15 laps after the leaders have made their last stop, which should come right around lap 78, something like that.
Riding on board the Freightliner car with Scott McLaughlin, looking at some Firestone telemetry there. Up through the gears, all the way up to 6th gear. Let's see what the top speed is heading into this turn 10 chicane. This is the coolest part of the racetrack, in my opinion, T-Bell. Knock it down one, chuck it in there, full commitment.
Oh, it's the best. I mean, it's as you said, such a committed corner. When you get it right, it feels amazing. I promise you, though, if things finish like this, I think Graham Rahal and this guy, McLaughlin, are going to be looking up at this gray Portland sky going, how did we not finish in the top 5?
How did we end up here? It is so interesting how these races play out as he stares at the back of Kyle Kirkwood, who was off on the first lap through the turn 1 chicane. Graham Rahal a few cars up the road, but even Alexander Rossi right behind him. All these drivers that started on those alternates really suffering.
And other drivers who only have to make one more stop, Dylan, like Renus VK, who's in front of McLaughlin, and Rahal. Marcus Ericsson's behind him in the mix. Marcus Armstrong doing well. So Chip Ganassi drivers doing a great job moving forward as a group.
Tell us more about Dixon, though, Dylan.
He is the only car in the top 23 that is on the alternate tires for his first stint on them today. And they're about 10 laps into this run, and Scott already came on the radio and said, these tires feel weird, so they want to try to make him get to lap 79. So that would be the ideal number. And coincidentally enough, when I talked to Mike Cole this morning, he said the last 2 years, the winner has stopped for the final time on lap 79. So they had a plan from the start, and it's kind of trying to ring true here if they can find a way to obviously get around Palou, but that's their number, lap 79 for Dixon.
70 laps into this, racing lap 71 of the 110 for the BitNile.com Grand Prix of Portland. Next week, it's WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca to finish off what has been a thoroughly enjoyable season. Is the championship decided today or for an 18th consecutive year? Is it decided next weekend? We will find out over these closing 39 laps. It's looking like the former rather than the latter.
It is
very much in Alex Palou's favor.
Out for a Sunday drive if you're a Chip Ganassi Racing driver, it seems.
9 to go here at Portland, and Palou in control. You're watching NBC's coverage of IndyCar, brought to you by Hy-Vee. This racing season, you can help Hy-Vee reach their goal of 100 million meals by visiting hyvee.com. Big Machine Vodka Spiked Coolers, presenting sponsor of the Big Machine Music City Grand Prix, of course. Enjoy responsibly. And by Shell Renewable Race Fuel, powering progress at 225 miles per hour. How cool is that? That is the next level pinball museum. I think several times voted the #1 pinball arcade in the world.
How are we just finding about I've been racing here for 20-something years. I never knew that was there. What a missed opportunity.
We'll just have to go tonight.
I like the Indy 500 version.
I think our stage manager, Rob Grant, went there. It was a little bit of a sneaky mission. So, welcome back. We've got 36 laps to go, and it is cruise mode for Alex Palou. This is exactly the way that he wanted to win his second NTT IndyCar Series championship. He's not there yet, though. However, it is looking very nice for him. Here's one of the two Juncos Hollinger Chevrolets, the green and black pay.com machines. If you look on the back of the rear wing there, of the main element, you see kind of like this black and white image there. They're launching a new initiative today. It's called the Power of the People, where you can have your face, your image on there, if you like, and on that main plane of the rear wing. So pretty cool stuff. They're always looking for new and interesting things to do. There it is there.
There you go.
And that is Augustine Canapino. Did you guys see the images of when he went back home to Argentina and raced?
Unreal.
There was a crowd of 80,000+. This guy is a rock star. They loved having him back. He's Kyle Kirkwood. Dylan's there.
And remember, he pitted on lap 4 and then had to make a long stint work on the fuel. They're going to have another one of those here. 35 laps to the end, but this is the last scheduled stop. You see him packing it full of Shell fuel for Kirkwood.
So he did. I mean, he made it to lap 76. This is what we were sort of speculating might happen.
Dare I say danger zone.
I mean,
Palou
yeah.
just lapped him there.
Well, that hurts
the rest of the field is now vulnerable. If a full course caution came out, Kyle Kirkwood would be sweeping his way right to the front as he tries to hold off once again Ryan Hunter-Reay. And Hunter-Reay probably has not forgotten one bit what happened in the opening parts of this race when Kyle Kirkwood moved him way wide on the back straightaway. Just after this corner, we might see the exact same situation again.
You see that big wide entry from Hunter-Reay trying to square up the exit on the push to pass. What? But we have seen how dirty it is off line, Townsend. All the marbles that Hunter-Reay's having to drive through with his hot Firestone side by side. Kirkwood gives in.
It's like, I'm going to show you how to do it when you don't do that to me.
And that's Fort Lauderdale versus Jupiter, Florida. Neighbors in the Sunshine State.
This was the replay from earlier when Kyle Kirkwood was dinged for blocking. You see him pushing Hunter-Reay all the way wide. That's a 170-mile-an-hour trip to the dirt there with the left rear that he held on to. But again, Kyle Kirkwood, he's still got to hit a number. As much as he wants to keep everyone behind him, he is short on fuel. He has got to stretch this tank all the way to the end of this race.
Yeah, so Scott Dixon just put Kirkwood a lap down, but Dixon and Palou still have to make their final stop, and that should come really soon as we get into the window to not have to save much fuel and make it to the end. Might end up with a decent blend battle with Scott Dixon and Felix Rosenquist once they make their stops.
Same between Rosenquist and Award, really.
Yeah.
This guy's been a little bit invisible today. Christian Lundgaard in the Hy-Vee Honda. Dylan.
Yeah, it's been a disappointing weekend for these guys. Felt like they had potentially pole-winning pace to match their teammate Graham Rahal, and just got buried in traffic in their qualifying run and haven't really been able to advance too far forward for Lundgaard today.
Started the weekend as the fastest in Friday practice and was going on with it too in the second practice session, and then in qualifying found traffic, and from there has kind of been a little bogged down in the Hy-Vee Honda as Christian Lundgaard. Started just one position ahead of his new teammate this weekend, Yuri Vips, the young Estonian racer who's enjoying it. Here he is here. Let's go for a ride and have a listen. you guys can appreciate what Yuri has gone through this weekend, his first ever IndyCar Series race. There are so many new things coming at you, whether it be in the car, out of the car, just the cadence of an IndyCar weekend. As the race leader, championship leader, Alex Palou is in.
And he was right behind that onboard of Yuri Vips, so he's not been running really quick laps, so that gap has shrunk by about 4 seconds. Could be the final stop towards the championship. He's got what is the preferred tire, the primary Firestone. You go this last lap and last stint, no big issues with fuel concern. Can easily get it done. 31 laps to the final stint, and the American Legion Honda is back out.
He is back out and out of the danger zone. So
Mix one and overtake.
Mix one, probably full rich, except for Stingray Rob, and here comes Graham Rahal, who still has to make his last stop. How aggressive does Graham race him?
But how about that? Palou is a full pit stop ahead of the pole sitter, Graham Rahal. The way this race is played out, this is where Graham Rahal is going to be shaking his head, scratching his head, saying, hey, how did we end up here?
Same thing he said at Indianapolis when Palou's teammate Scott Dixon finished in front of him. Let's take a look at this replay.
This is just now coming out of the pit. Stingray Rob on the hot tires on the outside.
That's close enough. You don't want it to be any closer than that.
To your point, I mean, Palou coming out on cold tires, he could have bottomed that car out through that curb cut, but he was lucky. That Ganassi machine is hanging on real well.
When it's your year, it's your year.
And think about the way the race started with that incredible opening lap move by Alex Palou to get himself up to third. Here is the Arrow McLaren Chevy and the Pato Award.
This is a pretty important one. This could mean fifth, or this could mean third potentially, or maybe even second for Pato Award, who battles Dixon for a podium position. Marcus Armstrong here with a 7. Oh no, loses the right rear.
Kevin, just when he was poised for his equal best IndyCar result, it's all gone away.
And I was going to say, he was going to go a long way towards wrapping up the Rookie of the Year championship with a race to go. He was plus 20 coming in, but he's going to lose all kinds of track position and fall way to the back.
Augustine Canapino runs 16th right now, so Armstrong more than likely will finish behind Canapino in this race. Here comes Dixon.
Oh my goodness, just when the day was going so great for Marcus Armstrong. Let's deal with his teammate. Here's Dixon, Dylan.
Yeah, now he's got to drive right around Ericsson. They're in the stalls next to each other, so that's a little bit inconvenient for Dixon. He wanted to go a couple laps longer to try to take advantage of those red tires. He did that and also asked for some front wing, so we'll see if he blends in any closer to Palou here.
Launches out right beside Ryan Hunter-Reay. And we'll have that inside line for turn one.
Oh, Hunter-Reay not going to give up that easily. That was pretty tight. So both Palou and Dixon pretty racy straight out of the pits.
And you may have noticed in the background too, Marcus Armstrong being released from his box, but that was super costly. He now falls behind Augustine Canapino in the running order.
In the back of that helicopter shot, you saw the orange and black Pato Award. So Dixon comes out ahead of Award in the pit stop cycle.
And
there's
Rahal
Award.
comes out ahead of Scott McLaughlin. Those two have been glued together all race long.
Yeah, only just. And again, McLaughlin has that one lap hotter tires as we see the McLaren trying to get by that Bitnile car of Brian Hunter-Reay.
Outside would be the spotter on the radio as Hunter-Reay holds him off, and Award not going to be too psyched with that. He wants Scott Dixon.
Big cross up there. Fairly standard, straightforward stuff on the push to pass for Pato. Not much Hunter-Reay could do there.
.28 laps to go in this Bitnile.com Grand Prix of Portland. Callum Eilert, while running in the top 10, he was the one in the top 10, kind of out of sequence. He last pitted on lap 49, so it was well and truly time for him to dive to the pits. Colton Herter, his race went upside down after an early pit lane speed violation when running fourth. That was a tough break for the Gainbridge Honda man.
Yeah, but he's made his last pit stop and now rides ahead of Graham Rahal. That'll be another one for Graham. Oh no, Canapino, right when his Rookie of the Year rival, Marcus Armstrong, has trouble. Canapino now
Guys, if the yellow comes out, Felix Rosenqvist is going to be the big loser here. He has not yet pit. David Malukas, you see, dives into pit lane. They might leave it green and give Rosenqvist the chance to come in and get that stop done.
Rosenqvist is on the back straightaway as all the cars are approaching this zone where Canapino's off the track. And there's the call.
It's a fairly exposed bit of racetrack there.
Unfortunately for Felix, luckily he's able to get to pit lane before the first full course caution, but he's going to have to do 26 laps on reds to finish the race.
That'll be tough. That will be tough. So, just when he got ahead of Rookie of the Year title rival Marcus Armstrong, Augustine Canapino is stationary on the side of the track. Kevin?
And as you said, it's going to be tough to make it. At least the race wasn't destroyed because the pits stayed open, so he still has a chance for a podium, but making those softer compound Firestones last 26 laps is going to be a real challenge.
Here's the caution. AMR safety team has to go and rescue the Argentinian driver Augustine Canapino in the pay.com machine for Juncos Hollinger. And this is quite an oddity. You don't see Canapino make too many mistakes and get himself in a position of peril. What happened?
It's been one of
turn
that.
10. Whoa.
Wow. Just a ton of speed in. Didn't even make the turn 10.
That had a weird look of maybe even a braking issue, perhaps.
Yeah, you could. There's a lot of fluid coming out of the gearbox or the back of the car there. Did you see that?
Oh yeah, I think something went wrong there.
What a wild ride for Augustine Canapino. AMR safety team there. We'll be back. The NASCAR playoffs begin at Darlington, and that is tonight at 6 p.m. Eastern on USA. Cannot wait. And I'm sure you've seen it. If you haven't, it is still as astonishing every single time you watch it. It's Ryan Preece going for the scariest, wildest ride of his life. The ferocity of this crash just doesn't soften at all. And to think that Ryan is racing is just miraculous.
I mean, that's the NASCAR equivalent of an Olympic floor routine. The tumbling and the handspringing and all of that. Just such a violent set of rolls. But let's get a little update from pit lane from Dylan Welsh on Scott Dixon.
And so because of the timing of that yellow, Dixon lost the second spot effectively to Felix Rosenqvist, and here is his reaction.
Can't do that, man. That's so Yep, copy that. Have to let the LF play out. Welcome to IndyCar.
Yeah, and so by eliminating Rosenqvist's outlap, that didn't allow Dixon to capitalize on hot tires. And now it's twofold because Rosenqvist is on the softer alternate tire, so he's going to be even more difficult to get around early on in this stint once Dixon gets to him.
Early on, but it should allow Dixon to maybe reel him back in at the closing phases of the stint. But with 24 to go, I don't think they move lap cars out of the way.
No, it's within 15 to go. They'll do that. But basically, the red tires, they're not going to last that long. That said, I completely agree with Scott Dixon on this one. We've had this issue before. First of all, leaving it green with the cars exposed as Canapino was, I think is a little bit questionable. I understand they didn't want to compromise Rosenqvist's race, but then to not let the outlap play out, this has come up before. It is an unfair advantage to Felix Rosenqvist in this case. Now, again, he's going to get burned by the fact he's on the alternates. That was on him. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. But I'm with Scott Dixon on that.
Yeah, I agree with you, Hinch. And for Rosenqvist, at first it looked like they were going to be a victim to the danger zone, but it stayed green. And then they went yellow as soon as Rosenqvist came into the pit, so he was able to get out and not have to deal with the cold tire battle with Dixon on hot tires. That's what Dixon's mad about. He didn't get a chance. Kev?
And I hear Palou has just been told the guy behind you, Rosenqvist, is on sticker reds, but it's going to be really hard for him to make it last. I think essentially told if he gets by you, race is not over.
All
you
right,
can still win.
Let's go. Let's get going because Felix Rosenqvist has some unfinished business.
And
he wants a
has
race win.
Nothing to lose. Felix Rosenqvist, full send. There you heard it on the radio. Everything you got, number 6.
Yep. This is it. Remember, we told you at the top of the show there's been 7 winners this year. That means there's 20 non-winners. Rosenqvist doesn't want to be on that list. He wants to make it 8 different winners on the year. Here we go, back to green in Portland. 22 laps to go.
Marcus Armstrong in that green number 11 on the inside of Stingray Robb. His teammate Scott Dixon going with him, but because of that problem in pit lane, Armstrong's a lap down. He needs to let Dixon go by, and there he goes.
He'll let Dixon, but probably not Pato O'Ward. How aggressive does O'Ward get here? We're on board with the Aero McLaren driver.
How about Armstrong getting taily?
Some team trickery at work here. O'Ward's going to want to try to fire it down the inside of turn 7 to clear the lap car of Armstrong. Here it goes.
Nice move.
Good clean pass. Well done, Pato O'Ward and Marcus Armstrong. Meanwhile, in the background, McLaughlin has lost a couple of positions. Ericsson's in the mix.
Don't forget how dirty the racetrack is offline right here. Too wide is sketchy.
Wow. Herta and McLaughlin tapped there at over 150 miles an hour.
They tapped coming out of 7 through that first kink and then tapped again. McLaughlin able to hold on to the position, but he's been on that dirty side of the track, as you said, so Colton's going to have a chance to come back at him.
Big braking duels down here into 1. Newgarden first up. Here comes VK on his teammate. In the background, Herta on McLaughlin gets it done.
Absolute mayhem on this restart, guys. Up front, crucially, Palou has been able to hold off Rosenquist so far as they get to the alternate start-finish line this time. Push to pass will be back active. 28 seconds for Palou, 35 for Rosenquist. You see Scott Dixon a little bit down on it. But look at this battle now. Now Colton Herta's really on the attack. Now Rossi's his next target.
And look there, the pole sitter Graham Rahal trying to get around Benjamin Peterson, who runs a lap down. But Graham Rahal, out of push to pass, runs 12th. On board here with Herta, they touched! They touched in front of him. Ericsson, contact with Rossi.
That was wild at 180 miles an hour.
I can't see.
Box if you can, box if you can.
How did Alexander Rossi not have a monumental crash? That was crazy.
Oh, and Graham Rahal is going to have his hands full down at turn 1 because he had to check up to avoid Rossi.
Kyle Kirkwood's going to get around him there on the outside, behind them side by side, and that's Callum Ilott over the curbs. Has to get it down into the gear. You see the McLaren of Rossi up top, assessing if there's any damage past the front wing.
Final 20 laps, boys. Everyone's gone crazy.
It's really all come alive here, guys. A little bit slow getting that front wing off. Oh, such a rough break for Rossi. We're going to have to see what comes from that. We'll take a look at the replay again, but we saw again that similar situation with Kirkwood and Hunter Ray earlier led to a penalty, so let's take a look.
Rossi here, blue and orange car, going to make a move to the outside of the red and white of Ericsson. Ericsson, did he move?
I don't know if he did. I mean, he's kind of following the curve of the track. Alex still did have a little bit of track drivers left.
Yeah, but Ericsson, I mean, how did Rossi bounce off seemingly the left rear of Ericsson?
That could have been so bad. That could have been ugly.
Yeah, maybe. I'm going to have to see that one a few more times. That's a tough call for sure.
And it's under review by race control.
And keep in mind, if you're Rossi, as we watched the onboard, we were looking backwards. If you're Rossi, you don't want to get pushed on those marbles, so you're doing everything you can to try to hold position. Rossi reports Ericsson moved.
You know what that reminded me of? Mark Webber, Heikki Kovalainen, Valencia, where Webber flew.
I was thinking more Mark Webber, Sebastian Vettel, Turkey, went on the straightaway. They got together.
On board the Gainbridge Honda, Colton Herta. Herta runs 8th, chasing Ericsson down. We'll wait and see what race control says about the Ericsson-Rossi situation. Up front, Palou's pulled out a second on Felix Rosenquist. Dixon a further 4 back.
So there's Ericsson clearing the lap car of Stingray Robb, so he'll continue to push forward as race control has a closer look at that incident. Now Colton Herta trying to follow suit. He's inside Stingray.
How about, guys, let your eyes walk up that graphic on the left to 6th place, Rinus VK. I spoke with his engineer, Matt Barnes, this morning. He said for whatever reason, he seems to be in a different mode this weekend. He has come to race, he has come to play, and he is poised for his best result of the season. He's only had one top 10 this year. That was at the Indy 500 where he was a front runner. He was looking good at the Indy 500. The last 2 races he's had a couple of 11s. this weekend he has been in the zone, in the mode every session.
And when you look at the tire strategy that this team's employed, he started on kind of the disadvantaged strategy. He was on the alternates to start. He is the highest running car that started on those alternate tires, the non-favored strategy. So excellent work by him and Marcus Ericsson behind him, both in the same program there, but great job from the young Dutchman.
A driver doesn't do it alone. You know, full credit to the Pit Nile team to give him a very fast race car. His pace has seemed equal to or at times stronger than some of the Team Penske cars and the Aero McLaren cars. VK duking it out with the big boys.
"17 laps to go." We're going to take you through the field. Brought to you by Liberty Mutual Insurance. Let's start with Joseph Newgarden in the Hitachi Chevy. Yep.
And one of the storylines for Team Penske is, all right, they're not going to win the championship this year. There was still an outside chance of finishing second, but really third is the target, and the inter-team battle. Both Scott McLaughlin and certainly Joseph Newgarden as well want to get in that situation. Newgarden, by the way, for the moment, has that advantage. Solid day, started further back, good car, just can't make up any ground, Dylan.
Rinus VeeKay runs right behind him, just talked about him in the 6th spot. The last 2 races, he's advanced 8 spots and 9 spots respectively. He's +7 today, and he said the speed's been there for these last 5 or 6 races. We just haven't really had any good fortune or things fall our way until the last couple. They've done their job to take luck into their own hands today with some good tire strategy and a fast race car. So VeeKay on pace for his best result of the season. Behind him, Marcus Ericsson runs in the 7th spot, his final 2 races of the year with Chip Ganassi Racing. Just kind of been an okay weekend. They haven't been extremely happy with their car on one tire compound or the other, and as a result, qualified mid-pack. They've done a nice job to advance forward a couple positions, but just trying to salvage the year and maybe get a win as a thank you present from Marcus to his team for all that they've all accomplished together, Kevin.
Hey, speaking of presents, Colton Herta running an 8 gave a present to his dad. It's a car that he won at Laguna Seca with, and Brian and Colton are going to get in that car on Wednesday at Laguna Seca, so we'll see some shots of that. And then Colton is going to be driving a replica livery, still in Cambridge sponsorship, to the old shell car that Brian Herta used to run, so that'll be cool next weekend. David Malukas having a really nice run. He started in 23rd, one of those that topped off early. Now he is on the alternates. He's got to make them last all this last stint, but this is a good result for David Malukas, who we also think is on the move. We think he is going to be confirmed at McLaren in the very near future. And then Scott McLaughlin rounds out the top 10. He was hoping for better today, starting up in the 2nd position. Still solid position today, hoping to keep that streak of top 8s all since the Indy 500 intact, but he's going to pick up a couple of spots more, Dylan.
It's been kind of an up and down year for Kyle Kirkwood. They've had some good results, but they've had to fight hard to get some of those, and that's the case again today after going off the chicane in turn number 1. Had to go off strategy. They've done a great job to save fuel in all 3 of their stints, and now he runs in the 11th spot, and they're still in fuel save, but it has been a hard-fought effort to get them kind of out of a hole to finish in the 11th spot, which is where they run right now if they can hang on to that. Behind him, a couple more Rahal Letterman Lanigan cars. Christian Lundgaard has moved around Graham Rahal and into the 12th spot. We talked about him earlier. Just a disappointing day yesterday for them in qualifying. Felt like they had much better pace and just got caught up in some slower traffic. They said the key to their strategy at the start of the day was being able to pass cars. They did at the start, but then they've kind of plateaued. And Graham Rahal behind him, running in the 13th spot after starting on the pole, has also had a good race car, but the strategy has been a little bit of a head scratcher for them today, at least for Graham. Here was his feedback a moment ago.
I mean, you got cars coming out of the pits right in front of me, killing us. I mean, absolutely killing us. You should see who's in pit lane and call me in. You see the Canapinos that come out right in front of us, freaking pit. Don't wait.
So Graham frustrated, and you can understand why.
Oh, it's oozing out of him. Unfortunately, starting from pole and running back there in 13th place in the people-ready Honda. The day hasn't gone the way that Graham Rahal would have hoped. Need to tell you also about Meyer Shanks, Tom Blomqvist, the 2-time Rolex 24 at Daytona winner, and also the sports car champion. He's going to finish out the season in that in preparation for his full-time IndyCar ride next year. So valuable time in the car. He's a little further back than where he's used to be in the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship, but valuable time behind the wheel.
Yeah, he's clearing Will Power there, who's 2 laps down. Next car up for Bloomquist would be Stingray Robb to try to make a move on.
And again, whenever you see that car, we think of Simon Pagenaud, still recovering from that big crash at Mid-Ohio. Hang in there, Simon, we're thinking of you. You're looking at 26-year-old Spaniard Alex Palou in the Chip Ganassi Racing American Legion Honda, who has led 59 laps of this race. He wasn't asked to win this race. All he had to do was finish on the podium. He could have gone to the next race next weekend to consolidate his second championship, but he is doing it from the front. This is such a special place to him. It's where he got his first IndyCar pole, and 2 years ago, when on the opening lap, the opening turn right about here, had a coming together with Felix Rosenquist and his teammate Scott Dixon, and went all the way to the back, had to pit. He jumped on the team radio and rallied his team and said, guys, we can still do it, and drove to victory. And it was a pivotal moment in his first IndyCar Championship season win. It was incredible. So here we are back at Portland 2 years later, and again, it's going to be a significant moment in his IndyCar career, because if he stays where he is for just another 8.5 laps, he's a 2-time series champion.
And I loved watching the last 4 corners of Palou. It was absolute precision, hitting his marks, nailing the apexes, using every single millimeter of racetrack. This guy is just such a joy to watch. If you watch carefully, you can see the discipline and how methodical he is with every single part of the corner.
I mean, you talk about what he's done so far this season, but it's not really just this season, guys. This guy's IndyCar career has been something pretty special. After 62 career starts, you put him up on the list with wins, podiums, and top 10s. Only 2 drivers in history have had a more successful start to their career, AJ Foyt and Mario Andretti. Maybe you've heard of them, Townsend. You heard of those guys? I think so, yeah. It just highlights how incredible it is. If he brings it home today, that'll be his 5th win on the season, and we're heading to Laguna Seca, where he won by 30-some-odd seconds last year.
And here's the thing you have to appreciate about those records in this era, which includes Alex Palou and Scott Dixon, the era of a spec chassis and a spec tire, the consistency, the level playing field. That's what makes those results all that much more impressive, along with his teammate Scott Dixon's 6 championships.
Kevin, when he left Dale Coyne Racing after his rookie season and went to Chip Ganassi, I said, what's it like? What's it like there? And he said, I am just being a sponge, listening and learning from those who I'm surrounded by, right?
And I want to go back to when he was with Dale Coyne Racing. When we're looking at his rookie season, as you see Dario Franchitti, who has become one of his mentors, at the end of that rookie season, when he had only 1 finish better than 7th, was 16th in the championship, he didn't have a job, but he was also fast at Indy. He introduced himself to Chip Ganassi and said, my name is Alex Palou, I'd like to drive for you next year. It came together, and this championship is very different. He didn't have expectations that year, but he won off the gate. And then he said, I pestered Dario, and Tony Kanaan was with the team. Scott Dixon, Jimmy Johnson, a 7-time champ, about what it takes to win and what it takes to be great. And now he is still not a finished product. He said, oh yeah, I've still got a lot more I can learn and I can get better, which is quite scary for everyone else.
Incredible. And he's just 26. And about 6 laps home to wrap up his 2nd title. And he's got 3+ seconds over Rosenquist, and this can be an enjoyable drive home. And he's going to break quite an incredible streak. That is the streak that's alive up until this afternoon. 17 consecutive years in IndyCar where the title has gone down to be decided at the final opportunity. Alex is going to break that nearly 2-decade-long streak here this afternoon.
Yeah, what a jerk. That's such a, it's going to take us a long time to get that record back up there, but no, I mean, you have to just hand it to this operation. Chip Ganassi Racing as a whole, but of course the 10 squad in particular, the way they've operated this year. We talk a lot about that stat. Your favorite stat, Townsend, the best worst finish. 8th place. That was the season opener at St. Pete.
And I really only noticed that last year in looking at Will Power's championship, and that was the stat that jumped out, was last year Will Power was the one with Team Penske that was able to minimize the downside and have the best worst finish, but this year Palou just getting it done everywhere. And like Scott Dixon said earlier this season, when it's your year, it's your year. And I mean that, and Dixon means that in so many circumstances where you just end up on the good side of things that could go 50-50 against you or for you. It's been that kind of season for Alex Palou. Off track, a little bit different story. It's been another dramatic year of high contract tension and conflict between McLaren, Zach Brown, and Chip Ganassi fighting over this incredibly talented driver. Another guy that I think we have to mention is his manager, Roger Yasukawa, who we saw this morning at breakfast, who's here in Portland. He helped give Palou the great opportunity to race over in Japan and really come up with the foundation of the support that he was able to bring here to get his start in IndyCar with Team Go. So a lot of people should take a lot of credit in this young man's success, but no one more so than Alex Palou himself, because he's the one that's risen to the occasion to get it done.
Well, and Mr. Go from Japan, who said, yeah, you can go. I'll help facilitate that. So, enjoy the ride, Alex. You've got under 4 laps.
Look at this.
Just to keep enjoying the Sunday drive. Meanwhile, remember we told you earlier, pit lane speeding penalty. Was at 4th, had to serve that penalty. There is no stopping the Gainbridge Honda. Colton Herta has fought his way all the way back up to 8th. Really gritty drive.
And look at how hard he's having to work behind the wheel of that Gainbridge Honda. It is not coming easy. Trying to set up maybe, oh no, he's gone off.
Oh no!
He's going around, no! And he stalled it.
This could bring out a call. No, he restarted it. Dumped the clutch, bump started his race car, lost about 5 positions in the process.
Commentator's curse strikes
Just
again.
when we were singing his praises. It's your fault. What a bummer. Well, he's got an opportunity next weekend at Herta's house, which is WeatherTech Raceway Laguna Seca, to try and get another win for the Herta household. This is what happened to Colton.
He had really squared off the entry of turn 6, trying to cut under and get that good run off into turn 7 against Marcus Ericsson. Just picked up a bit understeer in that dirty air, T-Bell, and once you get in that dirt.
And both drivers were out of push to pass. They were both at 0 seconds, so Colton Herta was trying to do it just on pure racecraft as David Malukas did a nice job to avoid the spitting Herta.
And Herta did a great job, to be fair, of getting the clutch in, the gear down selected to first, and then release to bump start it. That exit curve is just too short.
Yeah.
Too short.
Listen. Gets it going in. This is the view for Scott McLaughlin.
Right there, you see him left.
You sound like a guy getting ready for the Super Motocross finals with a little
Wow,
that
guess
sounded
what?
like a 450.
Guess what? They start next week, the Super Motocross World Championship playoffs at ZMAX Raceway in Charlotte, North Carolina, or Concord, and then Chicago, and then the World Championship finale at the LA Coliseum. Meanwhile, 2 laps to go here in Portland. The championship run for a record-tying 7th is just about over, unfortunately, for Scott Dixon. Won the last 2 races, the Gallagher Grand Prix at the Indy Road Course, and then last weekend at Worldwide Technology Raceway for the final oval of the year. However, his teammate is about to see the white flag. Alex Palou is almost there. One more lap for Palou. What an incredible season this has been. Less than 2 miles for this guy to be crowned champ. What a ride.
And not only does this lock in Palou as the champion if he holds on for this final lap, but so too will Scott Dixon lock in 2nd with this run ahead of Joseph Newgarden.
You know, when he first came into this team, he did more listening than talking. Sponged, listened to the legends around him. He galvanized his team by doing just little things like turning up at the race shop on a Monday or a Tuesday morning with several boxes of donuts for his guys and gals on the team. Listened to them, spent time with them, learned about the team from the inside, learn about the car, learn about the culture of IndyCar, learn about moving from Spain to Indianapolis, Indiana. And here he is, Alex Palou, for the second time in 3 years, is an NTT IndyCar Series champion. Hello, Palou, a champion again.
Let's go, boys. Oh my God. Let's go, thank you. You guys are the best.
If there was ever a mic drop in IndyCar racing, we just witnessed it. That was a dominant, perfect day from the professor of precision as he matches the donuts from yesterday from Miles Rowe, who celebrated after winning the USF Pro 2000 championship.
What a moment.
And you know what? They were kind of Zanardi-esque. Maybe not as long, but he now is a two-time champion for Chip Ganassi, like Alex Zanardi. What a cool moment for Alex
And IndyCar
Palou.
champion. Nice job, buddy.
These folks just got treated to a little bit of IndyCar history there. For Alex Palou, he became the first Spanish IndyCar champion 2 years ago. And now he's a two-time champ for that man there, for Chip, who likes winners. He's got another one.
See Scott McLaughlin pulling over to wave. Teammate Marcus Ericsson. A lot of respect in the paddock for this driver from Spain. You can see it on this cool down lap. David Malukas, all the drivers lining up to give big thumbs up to Palou.
Because I don't think anybody races cleaner also than this guy. So for the last several seasons, Alex Palou has been fair on the racetrack with his competitors.
Enjoy this cruise in, Alex. You've earned it through speed, consistency, determination, and has just been a cut above this year. 4 wins on the season. There's still a chance, actually, sorry, make that 5 wins on the season. There's a chance to get 6 next weekend at the season finale, and puts it beyond doubt for the first time in nearly 2 decades before the season finale. He breaks an incredible streak in IndyCar history of it not being forced to the final race. That is emblematic of what his season has been like in the American Legion Honda. Be the one is their slogan. Alex Palou is the one.
Absolutely crushed it this year with both cars and again first and second in the championship.
Palou, Rosenquist, Dixon, Award, and Newgard the top 5. BK, Erickson, Malukas, McLaughlin, and Kirkwood the top 10. Lundgaard 11, Rahal was 12, Herta 13.
It's a tight-knit group on the 10 team. They've been through a lot over the past 18 months, almost 2 years, with the off-track dramas, just all surrounding his signature. and who's going to have the rights to this guy's driving abilities? But they've stuck together, and they've stuck together. The team has told me, these guys have told me, they've stuck together because of the guy behind the wheel. Alex Palou, as he gets congratulated by Chip Ganassi, his boss. There's been tense times between those two as well, but not now. They're celebrating another championship.
But despite the tension, neither of the two of these guys lost their cool. Chip Ganassi continued to give his driver fast race cars. Alex Palou continued to deliver in the cockpit. They were total professionals on the racetrack.
This checkered flag moment is brought to you by Advance Auto Parts. As Alex greets the crew, there's his wife Esther, and the cardboard cutout of his strategist and mentor and good friend, team leader, Barry Wanzer, who couldn't be here today, but Barry's with him in spirit. Kevin, take it away.
There's the hug from Chip Ganassi, who likes winners, and Alex Palou is the essential winner. 5 on the season, 9 in his young career. Championship number 15 for Chip Ganassi Racing. You know, we felt like you were in really good shape, but what is the extra significance to be able to celebrate a championship in victory lane?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we wanted. Obviously, it was an amazing weekend overall. We just had really fast cars. We knew we had to go for it, and we just raced how we've been doing all season. So, yeah, super proud to be here in victory lane. Super proud of the second championship and 15th for the team. We're missing Barry. We wish you the best of recoveries. He did an amazing job. He cannot be here now. And it's extra special for the American Legion, Be the One. It's a month of the suicide prevention, so hopefully that helps a lot of people now.
You surprised everyone when you won a championship. We went from 16th to 1st in points in your first year with Ganassi. No big surprise here at this point. What's the difference in championship number 2 when you're more the hunted than the hunter?
I love it. I mean, I never thought that would be an IndyCar champion, and to be 2-time IndyCar champion just feels amazing, like a dream. So cannot thank these guys and girls enough. They gave me all the tools I needed to win, so we'll keep on rolling.
In this race here today, there was a lot of question about what the preferred tire was, and you didn't have the best starting position. How did you ultimately get to victory lane today and really control this race very early on?
Fast cars, as I told you. We just had a really fast car, and whatever we did, I think today we were going to come up on a really good position. So we just focused on our fuel mileage. Our strategies were perfect, pit stops and everything. So, yeah.
Congratulations. Celebrate. We're going to do some more celebrating next weekend at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. The gang's all here. Julian Robertson over there, Chip Ganassi. We'll be hearing more. The official celebration next weekend. But a champion is upon us, and it's Alex Palou again.
Let's go. Let's go. Enjoy it. There's Ricky Davis, his crew chief. Great friendship and bond between those two. What a moment. And Chip Ganassi in the middle, surrounded by his staff, to deliver a 15th IndyCar championship. Palou sure does bring the fire, and he brought it today here in Portland. A champion has been crowned before the season is over. It's Alex Palou. Consolidates his position in the history of the NTT IndyCar Series by winning his 2nd title. Want to remind you, coming up at 6 p.m. Eastern tonight, that's not far away, on USA, the NASCAR playoffs begin at Darlington. Cannot wait. Let's get the playoffs going. Going to be cool. Race to the end to see who will be the NASCAR Cup Series champion, because we already know who is the NTT IndyCar Series champion. That's Alex Palou in the red Firestone hat, in amongst his team, enjoying celebrations. Hey, let's take a look at the Pennzoil moment of the race. And you got to watch that blue and white American Legion Honda on the left-hand column of the track and on your screen. Watch how he's able to capitalize with an early move that got him in the clear, and he took off.
I thought it was very smart here that he kept a little bit of buffer so as not to run into anybody, and then when he was clear, he decided to pounce and didn't look back.
Yeah, that inside line gets checked up there. You see Colin Herta getting checked up by McLaughlin, rolls around the outside, getting ahead of his teammate, a championship contender.
So the day ended as it finished. Positivity and with authority. And Alex and Esther Palou there as they celebrate. They put it beyond doubt. They put it beyond the reach of teammate Scott Dixon. Right, Dylan?
That's right, and he finishes 3rd today ultimately. So let's talk about the race first. The caution there with Rosenquist in that pit cycle, how ultimately did that impact maybe your finish? Not necessarily the championship finish, but just your day today.
Yeah, first of all, congrats to the 10-car group and obviously to Chip and the whole team. You know, to already secure 1-2 going into the last races is pretty special. Yeah, I don't know. IndyCar keep doing this. It kind of, I think they're thinking they're trying to help people, but it actually hurts and affects the outcome of the race. It would have been only one spot for us, but maybe would have given us an opportunity at the end of the race. You know, I don't know if we had enough speed for Alex. He was definitely fast. We were definitely off sequence to him. We did, you know, he was on reds when we did blacks, and he had a pretty smooth run, I think, through that sequence of traffic, or that short stint there definitely helped them. But can't thank everybody enough on the PNC Bank number 9, and obviously huge congrats to Honda and HPD for the effort they put in. It was definitely an interesting race today. It was pretty tough.
It's another one of those years for you that I think there was just 1 or 2 opportunities maybe that kind of slipped away, and it ultimately has you second in the championship, but not where you want to be. But how do you kind of evaluate this year? It is going to be second in points for you.
Yeah, it was pretty blah, to be honest. You know, we had the issue at Long Beach, and then, you know, there's definitely some races where we definitely didn't capitalize, or maybe we didn't do the right strategy like at Toronto. You know, you can always pick a season to pieces, just as everybody else can, but all in all, you got to look at the big picture to secure 1-2 in the championship. That's tough to do. In this competition, it's really tough to do. And for us to rebound the way that the team did, you know, is a testament to everything that they do. So, you know, love working with this group of people. And again, you know, huge congrats to Alex and the 10-car group.
You know what it takes to be a champion, obviously. What about Alex makes him so good and so worthy of being a 2-time champion?
Yeah, just I think he kind of does everything right, you know, and yes, of course, you have seasons where things kind of roll your way sometimes. I've been, you know, a part of those, and those are pretty special, but he's a hell of a competitor, huge talent. You know, obviously that we knew that right out of the gate, but you know, he's got a great group that works with them. You know, obviously it's never one single person, but he's doing a hell of a job.
It'll be a second this year for Scott Dixon in the points. 3rd place finish today at Portland. That's his 3rd straight 3rd place finish. Kevin.
And it is the first 1-2 for Chip Ganassi Racing in the championship since 2009 with Dixon and Dario. Let's talk about Palou first. You've answered these questions before, but it's worth repeating. How special is he?
Certainly special. You know, we noticed that with his first weekend at his first race win at Barber, you know, 3 years ago, and we knew the guy was special, and he's part of our team. We couldn't be more than happy about that. Couldn't be more happy about that, and he likes to win. He likes to be at the front. He told me, I said, hey, let's go wrap this thing up today. He looked at me and he said, I'm going to wrap it up with a win. I said, okay, great.
He called a shot.
He called the shot today.
So I know I'm breaking a rule here because you normally talk about driver lineup after the season. Can we say anything? Is Alex Palou going to be in your car again next year?
Alex Palou's going to be in our car, I can tell you that, sure.
That's a good place to be. All right, thank you, Chip. 1-2 in the championship. Chip Ganassi celebrates again with number 15.
So 2 years ago, after an opening lap hiccup, he told his team they could come back from pit road and win it. They did. He told his boss, Chip Ganassi, today they could win it and seal the championship. They did. And 15 IndyCar championships for the man we just heard of, with thanks to the likes of Jimmy Vasser, Alex Zanardi, Juan Pablo Montoya, Scott Dixon, who we just heard from, Dario Franchitti, and now Alex Palou, a 2-time champion to make up those 15 titles for Chip. Alex's folks couldn't be here. They're back in Barcelona, Spain, but you may have seen him on the phone earlier. He and wife Esther FaceTiming with his family back home. They've been here. They've been in the States a lot. They've shared some very special moments with Alex. They couldn't be here today, but look, showing mum and dad back home in Barcelona, celebrating their son's amazing accomplishment. All right, there was another guy in the mix today from McLaren. That was Felix Rosenqvist. What a great day for Fro.
Yeah, definitely a great day. He splits the Chip Ganassi cars today with a 2nd place finish. So you had to run long on the end there on the alternate tires, which on paper maybe was not the most desirable situation. How'd you do it?
Yeah, I think saving them for the end was good in terms of degradation. The track is getting more and more rubbered in, so we thought that would be our play. You know, it's obviously a bit risky if you end up in a situation where you're dagging a lot, but I was kind of lucky in the end. First of all, with the yellow that we just managed to do our stop before, and then also in the end, with kind of had a buffer with lapped cars that helps us give it a little bit of a cushion to Scott in the end. So it kind of worked out our way for first time in a while, so I was enjoying the race a lot. Our McLaren Smart was just on rails all weekend. Something broke in qualifying, so we had to start 11th, but it was a hell of a comeback from the whole 6-car crew, and yeah, I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, what kind of validation is this, not only for this weekend, but this whole year? You guys have shown lots of speed, but sometimes just things haven't fallen your way, and today they kind of did.
Yeah, it was nice to have this result and just kind of prove what we can do when everything goes our way. It was just, yeah, the last couple of races have just been really frustrating, and a little bit of a reset here, and yeah, just been enjoying driving a lot, and we kind of been going our own way a little bit on the 6 car and kind of doing you know, following our gut feeling, and I feel like it really worked out. So I'm super proud of everyone in the 6th car and Aaron McLaren. You know, I think honestly, starting a bit further up, we could have probably challenged for the win. But yeah, congrats to Alex. He was flying at the end. I didn't really have anything for him, but yeah, super happy with this podium.
Felix Rosenqvist second today. He's the best of the Arrow McLaren cars.
Tell you what a quality human being Felix Rosenqvist is. You see all the cardboard cutouts of the face of Barry Wanzer. There he is there. They've even put an American Legion hat on Barry. Barry's dealing with some cancer at the moment, very curable, and he's making a good recovery already. Felix Rosenqvist texted me the other day and said, I want to thank you guys for mentioning Barry Wanzer on the broadcast, because when Rosenqvist was with this team, Barry Wanzer was a big influence on him. So even thinking about his own weekend, he's still thinking about a guy who couldn't be here. Look at the celebrations. This is awesome.
I'm glad I brought extra underwear. Cheers. Yeah, boy. Cheers. That was a good one. You gotta close your eyes when you do that. Right. Woo. Thanks, bro. Thank you. So happy.
That big exhale, all the work that goes into it. He is already just scorched past, by the way. We always talk about points. He has scorched past the points tally that he racked up in 2021. So that just shows we're not even at the last race and he's already scored more than when he won the title 2 years ago.
Yeah, you just look at this group of team members and how tight they've stayed through some of the drama, the contractual drama last year. They just kind of kept their heads down and did their things. Already talked about Julian Robertson. You saw Ricky Davis, got Brad Wright, Terrence Swanson, Kyle Sagan, Jake Klomp, Scott Darvin, Steve Barry, Corbin Blake, and Lee Orabaugh, longtime spotter for Palou as well.
Saw his teammate Marcus Ericsson trying to make his way in there to give his congrats. Again, it's a tight-knit group. Ericsson himself having a pretty strong day, all things considered.
So, somebody knows what it's like to win 2 championships in the NTT IndyCar Series. That's this year's Indy 500 winner, Joseph Newgarden. He's with Kev.
Yeah, exactly. I'm going to guess he's already thinking about maybe a championship number 3 run for next year. But first, let's talk about today. So you go from 12th to 5th. That's really good, but it's really even better than that, considering how this race started and how far you had to shuffle back.
Yeah, it's a tough day. You know, I put us in a hole yesterday with my mistake in qualifying, and our car was clearly a lot quicker than starting 12th. So, you know, I think at the start here too, we went even further back. This is the first time I'm seeing it. I felt like I was kind of getting into a wreck, so I just kind of bailed out. And then, I just took the escape road and probably didn't even need to, but yeah, I just felt like I was about to get into one, which is very possible here at Portland. So we fought back. The team did an amazing job. Like, just so proud of the team. They were unbelievable in the pits, made the right calls all day, and had a super fast car. So I'm just very thankful to the team for all their hard work and effort. And I think most importantly today, just want to congratulate Alex and his team. Very deserving champions. So tough year for us, but they did a great job, super deserving. We'll come back next year.
So I think that's probably a good thing. If you say tough year for us, and you've won 4 races, you've won the Indy 500, you're maybe in position to finish 3rd in the championship, but you want more. Has the process already started about, all right, how can we be better next year?
Yeah, I think so. It's constant. You know, we're always trying to evolve, and it's trying to make a step this weekend, just evolution of how we're going to approach things. And it's always going to be the same game. It's going to be one race at a time, trying to maximize the weekend. And by far we did not maximize the weekend. No thanks to me. So if we can clean stuff like that up, we can get a little bit of the tide turning our way more so in the year, then I think we can definitely be in another championship run in the future.
And still another chance to get another win this season next weekend at WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca. Dylan.
Kevin Pato Award finished 4th today, and he's 4th in the championship with a shot to go 1 better next week. I want to have Sean, our camera guy, just show all these people around here. I mean, look at how many people are here waiting for Pato. We pulled him out of the truck. He was getting ready to change, and he was gracious enough to come out here and chat with us. So let's talk about your day first before we look at next week. What challenges did you face at the end there, ultimately trying to move up?
I was really happy with the car. I was very comfortable. I think we were one of the fastest car on track for quite a bit of the race. And we were just making hay. And it's just frustrating in a series like this where leaders have to be fighting the lappers in order for whoever it is that you're fighting, just to have a shot, right? And then like for us, we were fighting Dixon and Fro for the podium, and obviously Dixon gets let by because he's in a Honda, and then we get to him and they do everything in their power, and they make sure that I blow all my push to pass trying to get by him. They blow all theirs, and yeah, it seems like their biggest accomplishments that they want to do in a race day is wait for the leaders to come by and then make their life a living hell. So it's frustrating. It's embarrassing for the series. This shouldn't be a rule. There should be a rule in place for that to not happen. And it's destroying the chances of a good fight for a podium. And I wasn't the only one. Joseph and Scotty were getting held up by I believe it was Armstrong. So it's just frustrating. Like, I get it, but they're not going to get their lap back. Leaders by. So stop being an ass and let other people fight.
I understand the frustration. Pato will go to Laguna next week, 9 points out of third, and he'll battle Joseph Newgarden for that spot in the final standings.
Guys, I feel like we've just been hearing this conversation more this season than any season I can remember as the fans cheer first for Pato and now back at the podium for your race winner and champion, Alex Palou.
Here to present the trophy to the winner.
And disguising the disappointment is actually a sincere enjoyment for Dixon, for his team, because Dixon has, and for many years, has had the common statement that if I can't win, the team needs to win. So if I can't win, I'm disappointed, but I'm happy for the team.
Well, and I think Dixon should be proud standing there next to Alex Palou, knowing that he's helped him.
Yeah.
He's helped shape the champion and race winner that Alex Palou is today. Maybe not so much by telling him, just showing him this is the path.
It kind of reminds me almost of the Jeff Gordon, Jimmy Johnson relationship, when Jimmy first joined the series, joined Hendrick Motorsports, and how Jimmy sort of took the lessons from Jeff and went on an incredible run. I think we might be seeing the start of an incredible run here for Alex Palou, and no doubt having benefited immensely from the tutelage of Scott Dixon.
And we see another guy on the podium who also benefited, Felix Rosenquist, understudy to Scott Dixon at Chip Ganassi Racing for a couple seasons. He learned an incredible amount as well. So call it Dixon University. Alex Palou, a strong graduate today.
Well, people like us come into a broadcast talking about the points permutations. You only need to do this, you only need to do that. Alex Palou put an exclamation point on it by saying, I'm not just going to do the minimum I need to do. I'm going to get this championship with a victory.
It's the way to do it. Dixon's done that before as well.
And just to add some extra numbers to what we're telling you about the Dixon University, how he helped the incredible career that he's had and the influence that he's had on people like the newly crowned champion Alex Palou. That is now the 18th time that Dixon has at least finished in the top 4 in the championship.
Just remarkable.
Not 8, 18.
Absolutely remarkable. And I bet even Dario Franchitti would tell you he learned a lot and benefited from being teammates with Scott Dixon. It's not just young rookies that can benefit from the knowledge and the experience and the talent of that guy on your right. Even reigning champions and 500 winners can learn a lot from Scott.
The kid who grew up in Spain, he didn't play any other sport. He was laser focused on motorsport. The former coffee shop owner, Alex Palou, a 2-time IndyCar champ.
I cannot wait to hear Hello Palou in 2023.
Alex Palou wins the GMR Grand Prix at Indy.
Yes! Good job, boys!
All right, Alex, are you ready to go really fast?
I'm so ready. We can get this pole.
Who gets the pole for the Indianapolis 500? It's Alex Palou! From pole to victory lane, the Motor City says hello, hello.
Yes, boys! What a team. Woo!
Back-to-back races, Alex is a winner again.
Let's go! Woo!
Hello, Palou. Alex extends his championship lead and wins here at Mid-Ohio. Dominant with a capital D.
Yes! 3 in a row! What an amazing season.
Yes, that is Alex Palou steering his American Legion Honda for Chip Ganassi Racing to a 5th win this season. but the bigger picture, a second career championship victory. A two-time NTT IndyCar Series champion celebrating with his team, and his team boss now wins 15 IndyCar Series championships. How about that? What a day, what a year for this guy here. Victories at the Indianapolis Grand Prix road course, at Detroit, at Road America, at Mid-Ohio, and then here in Portland. Now, through his first 63 career starts, look at where he is. He is in rarefied air.
I mean, the top 10's 44, best of the list, and I think that just speaks to that consistent, methodical approach. Palou putting his name firmly in with the greats.
Yeah, it's funny. You talked earlier about the era in which Palou is achieving those numbers compared to when Mario did it, when AJ did it. Mario will be the first guy to tell you it was a little bit easier, not easier to win, but the difference between the cars and the teams, the reliability of the cars was so much different that to achieve that kind of success in this current era, he's praised Scott Dixon for it, and obviously we got to look and praise Alex Palou for what he's accomplished.
Well, you just look at the age and the experience at such a young age for Palou. How far can he go? How deep can he put his name into the record books with huge achievements?
The season isn't done. Next weekend, we're going to travel a little further south than where we are now here in Portland, Oregon. We head to the Monterey Peninsula to WeatherTech Raceway, Laguna Seca, for the 17th and final race of the season. By the way, speaking of races, coming up on USA at 6 Eastern, that's just a few minutes from now, the NASCAR playoffs begin. Christopher Bell, Denny Hamlin will lead the field of green from the front row at Darlington. That's coming up in just a few moments' time. Look at the smiles. And when we see Alex Palou in a week's time at Laguna Seca, he will still be smiling and proudly boasting the fact that he is now a two-time NTT IndyCar Series champion. So we began the day between two teammates. And was that championship going to be forced to the final race? And for the first time in nearly 2 decades, it will not be. A champion was crowned today. Hey, we'll see you next Sunday for the Firestone Grand Prix of Monterey. Coming up next, it's your local news, except on the West Coast. On behalf of the entire team, this is Lee Diffie saying enjoy your night. NASCAR playoffs now on USA.